WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Good morning and welcome to Lemoore, California. You're looking at the beautiful surf ranch on a classic day in surfing history where the game has officially been changed. This is the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold with a sold-out crowd here on Saturday and the world's best surfers ready to compete in a first ever of its kind here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Thanks for being with us. Joe Trappell alongside former world champ Martin Potter.
Good morning, Joe.
Former CT competitor Rosie Hodge.
Good morning, boys.
What a special moment in surfing history. The crowds are going out the door, ready to see the world's best compete in a stadium kind of theater. Potts, you've seen a lot happen in the sport, kind of kicking off your career in 1981, but nothing of this nature.
Absolutely not. I mean, driving here is quite surreal. You're in the middle of nowhere, cattle country, so to speak, and you rock up to this beautiful place. I mean, we saw it last year for the first time, and it took me back to being a 15-year-old kid looking at J Bay for the first time as well. It was one of those wow moments, incredible.
And you think about over the last couple of decades, Rosie, there's been a lot of different type of technology in lake-type settings, but nothing that was able to mimic what happens in the ocean with groundswell technology.
That's it, Joe. I mean, what we have here is just so special, and just to be here, and it almost takes a little while for it to sink in. When you look at this basin completely dead flat, all of a sudden the wave of your dream pops up and it's coming right to you. So that anticipation and just having that beautiful long wall, that canvas to work with, it's spectacular.
Everything's different now. Watching the warm-up session yesterday, it truly felt like we were entering a basketball court kind of theme or a football field with all the spectators and media watching everyone's warm-up runs. It was really interesting to see how all the teams were preparing for a big opening day of competition.
Yeah, well, it's one of those unique situations where you know, the ocean obviously very unpredictable, so you can't take off on a wave saying this is what I want to do, where here you can. It's almost like you can plan your run, plan your maneuvers. So it's going to be interesting to see how these surfers approach it. You know, they can do different maneuvers on different sections of the wave, or they can get the barrel. So
that's right. It's going to be really incredible. And the thing is, if you guys watch the World Surf League Championship Tour and know the rules, well, maybe forget about that. This one's going to be a little bit different as we break down the format for this first ever of its kind World Surf League Founders Cup presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. We have 5 teams: Team Brazil, Team World, Team Australia, Team Europe, and Team USA. And we have 5 surfers on each team. You've got 3 men, 2 women. And their top 2 waves will count. They have 3 runs. In one run, you have a right and a left. You have 2 runs today on Saturday. The 3rd run will be tomorrow morning. And you have a few chances to score your top 2 scoring rides from a 1 right, 1 left. And that'll be added into your tally to see if your team will make the final round of competition. So the top 3 teams will make that final round, and the format's going to change just a little bit one more time. So we'll stick with that first round 1, 2, and 3 format, and then got you caught up on the final round. So the really cool part about this team format is we have some special team captains. For Team Brazil, it's Gabriel Medina. Here's what he had to say.
I'm Gabriel Medina, captain of Team Brazil. I'm joined by Adriano de Souza, Felipe Toledo, Tainá Riquel, and Silvana Lima.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Gabriel Medina, what a worthy captain, and you think about his squad, it's really lethal. Medina last year at the test event, we had a little run in September to see the format, and he was definitely the superstar, Potts.
Absolutely. You know, it's Felipe Toledo as well. I mean, those were the 2 guys that really push the envelope of how to ride this wave. I mean, they mix it up with maneuvers, barrels, and also the air game as well. And I think they're going to be a tough team to beat.
A lot of creativity there, but also with the team atmosphere. Rosie, at championship tour events around the world, the Brazilians have always had a tradition of sticking together, and now they get to fight for the same cause today.
Oh, that's it. You have that patriotic element, and you want to surf for your team. You want to represent your country as best you can, but that also adds that little bit of element of pressure to this format.
Really cool to see what Medina has done in the air. Obviously a big history here at this amazing wave. We've got a really cool team as well, representing a lot of different parts of this amazing planet. The team captain is from South Africa. His name's Jordy Smith.
I'm Jordy Smith. I'm the captain of Team World, and my fellow teammates are Michelle Perez, Bianca Buitendag, Paige Hareb, and Kanoa Igarashi.
Jordy Smith, last couple of seasons, has been in the world title race. He's already one of the most exciting surfers in the world. Starting with you, Rosie, you've seen this kid grow up. How is he going to handle this captain role, kind of watching his team and help them compete?
It's been so impressive to see Jordy. I think he's taken on this role so well. He's keeping that fun element, and he was saying at the beginning of the season he's going to bring that throughout. And even here at the Founders Cup, he's just going to keep that alive and just alleviate that pressure from his teammates and just spread the love, I think.
And you kind of feel like those guys like Michelle Perez representing Tahiti on the championship tour by himself. Kanoa for Japan by himself. Now they get to feel this team atmosphere on an event like today.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Perez and Kanoa surf this wave probably as good as anyone. Over the last sort of day or so of practice, we've been watching closely. And, you know, Michelle's got that power that's unique here as well as the ocean. So, you know, Team Europe's going to be hard to beat. I think it comes down to basically who makes the fewer mistakes. I mean, the team that doesn't fall off as much is going to win. I think that's how it's going to play out.
And also with the women athletes on Team World, Rosie, goofy footers. And that might feature in the format because there is a left where they'll be on their front side attack. Buitendag and Paige Hareb will have a lot of experience.
That's right. And just watching them in the practice session yesterday, Paige Hareb was very impressive to me. Obviously, you got Bianca Buitendag. She's almost 6'1", so to fit herself on this wave. And yesterday, just so impressed with the way that the surfers are adapting to the wave size, to the barrel, and all the sections. It's a really vast learning curve.
And also another team that's coming in swinging. One of the most decorated squads coming here to the Founders Cup is Team Australia, led by team captain Stephanie Gilmore.
I'm Stephanie Gilmore, and I'm the team captain of Australia. My fellow teammates are Joel Parkinson, Mick Fanning, Matt Wilkinson, and Tyler Wright. And we're going to win.
Just a nice, classic, cheeky smile from Gilmore, 6-time world champ, and just count the world titles on that roster, Potts. Yeah. It's incredible.
Incredible. I mean, on paper, you look at the two teams to beat as Team Australia, Team USA. They've got the most world championships amongst them, but I reckon throw that all out the door. I mean, this is a totally different format. And it's a totally different scene, so let's see how it unfolds.
And I guess, Rosie, when you look at the one surfer on that list without a world title to his name is Matt Wilkinson. However, he's finished in the top 5 the last 2 consecutive seasons.
Well, Matty Wilkinson, he's put his hand up to be a contender for a world title, and now fitting into this team aspect, he was one of the surfers coming into this event that was really fired up to represent his country. So that's that added element that's going to really push our surfers today.
And we know with all the warm-up sessions over the last year or so, everyone's been wanting to name the right-hand barrel after Stephanie Gilmore. After the warm-up sessions, Potts, has anyone ridden the barrel better than Stephanie in the last couple of days?
Definitely not. I think Steph it's kind of made for her. I mean, she's got a unique style. She shuffles up the board, even the Cheetah 5 with a foot right on the nose. And she locked in the most time in the barrel. So I think 18 seconds was the longest tube ride last year at the Future Pro. So I'm looking forward to seeing Steph come out and do exactly that. But I think you've got to mix it up as well. I think you get the first one, get a barrel, maybe mix it up with some maneuvers. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of game plan they come out with.
Really cool to see their game plan, especially with sticking to the open face. Rosie, we were talking about Team Brazil, and we couldn't stop celebrating their high-fi act going above the lip. How's that going to affect Australia's role if they're really sticking to the open face?
That's right. I mean, when you have that added element of the progression and you know that you can kind of lean on that, when you have that point of difference looking at the leaderboard, I think when you bring that element, that's going to change up the game, and the judges are going to take note of that.
Well, we talked about 3 big squads already early in the morning on the morning show. 2 big topics to talk about: Team USA and Team Europe. We'll take a quick break as we anticipate a huge start to the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. It is a beautiful morning in Lemoore, California for a first-time ever event here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Already a sold-out crowd filling the stadium to root on the best surfers in the world in this team format. Joe Turpel with former world champ Martin Potter, former CT competitor Rosie Hodge, for such a unique moment in surfing history. The game has changed forever. That's been this big topic over the last couple of years, as we knew this was going to be a groundbreaking day in surfing history. Getting to repeat maneuvers and practice over and over again is something that you didn't have the benefit of in your career, Potts, because you had to wait for good waves. You had to wait for the right tide, wind direction as well. Today, it's going to be totally different, as every wave is picture perfect.
You know, wave pools have been around for a long time, but this is a totally different concept. I mean, as you talked about that groundswell technology, the wave has a lot of push. It's hollow. And I mean, you can contest of it last year having a bit of a wipeout, and it throws you around. So not that it's a wave of consequence, but it's got enough power. And, you know, you heard a lot of the athletes talk about how fast you can actually go on this wave. So that's the beauty of it.
And working out their surfboards and their equipment, Rosie, I saw you talking to a lot of the world's best, and they're telling you more often than not they're riding boards that they ride in the ocean every day.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we're not going to see too much of that mix-up. We saw a lot of epoxy being ridden in the practice sessions yesterday, and I think we're going to see the surfers leaning on that kind of technology. You know, saltwater versus, just regular water in this basin, that buoyancy kind of changes a little bit. So I think shorter kind of boards to fit in that barrel, that's going to come into play today.
Such an exciting moment in surfing history. We talked about 3 teams before we went to break. Now let's hear from team captain of Team Europe. This is Joanne Defay.
I'm Joanne Defay. I am captain of Team Europe, and my fellow teammates are Jeremy Flores, Federico Moraes, Frankie Harrer, and Leonardo Fioravanti.
Great to hear from Joanne Defay, former breakthrough performer of the season, former rookie of the year, famous for radical maneuvers as well, and a well-worthy team captain. What's your favorite part about her squad, Potts?
Favorite part about her squad is the diversity. I mean, you've got so many different angles. You look at Jeremy Flores, who's amazing. Federico Moraes, steady Freddy, as we call him, very few mistakes. So it's going to be a tough team to beat. I mean, you know, Joanne Defay on the backhand here is super dangerous. I mean, yesterday watching her in the practice session, definitely one of the standouts from the women on the backhand.
And who's the guy who got a world title for England in 1989?
Who was that guy?
Oh, that's you, Martin Potter. Rosie, looking at that team as well. Frankie Harrer, what a special addition. The Goofy Foot's had a lot of practice at Chopu, Tahiti. She's well-traveled and had a great amateur career as well. What are you expecting out of Frankie today?
Frankie's been impressive to me. Watching her in the practice surfs, as well as seeing, you know, posts on Instagram, you know that she's had a lot of time in the system. She's surfing the wave so well. And then also just noting yesterday, Jeremy Flores giving Joanne a couple tips here and there. You can really start to perfect things as you go along today. So I think we're going to see that, a couple tweaks here and there, and the surfers really up their performances.
And we know Jeremy's already has credit as one of the best barrel riders in the world. And when he's passing on tube riding technique to Joanne Defay, she was able to take that advice, go right into a wave. That's going to be perfect because we're at the Surf Ranch. And she got to learn on the fly to take that to the rest of the world today.
Yeah, she didn't take long to work that backhand tube ride stance out, and she's going to be dangerous. You know, Frankie, to me, yesterday probably got the best tube on the left out of all the women as well. Leo Fioravanti, the Italian stallion, I mean, he surfs this wave incredibly well. He's had quite a few strike missions. So Team Europe, although there's you know, no world titles there, they're looking pretty strong.
They've got this youthful energy as well. Federico Moraes, maybe one of the most consistent rookies we've seen in a long time last season, representing Portugal as well. His warm-ups were some of our favorites yesterday.
I was truly impressed, especially on his backhand yesterday on the left, just going hammer town. And that's the thing, the timing on your backhand, that's really got to be impeccable to make it a standout ride.
Team Europe expecting big things out of them, but also expecting massive things out of Team USA. Team captain is also called the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Kelly Slater.
Hi, I'm Kelly Slater, USA Team Captain at the Founders Cup here in Lemoore, California at Surf Ranch. My fellow team members are Carissa Moore, Lakey Peterson, John Florence, and Kalohe Andino.
What a huge team there on paper for Team USA. A lot of world titles as well, with Kelly having 11, Carissa Moore, 3-time world champ, John Florence, back-to-back reigning world champ as well. And seeing Kalohe Andino coming from Southern California. He's had some nice warm-ups as well. Lakey from Rincon. I don't know. This is one of the teams you brought up early in the piece, Potts, as maybe the one to look at for the win.
Well, if you look at the stats, I mean, obviously world titles come into play. You know, big shoulders, a lot of pressure. And those are the kind of guys you want. You know, who's going to run anchor, who's going to, you know, sort of shoulder that pressure. And I think that's going to be the interesting part of what unfolds today. Who goes first, who goes last? I mean, who's going to set the pace, and then who's going to hold, you know, bring up the back end.
Rosie, we know Kelly's been absent from the jersey all season on the championship tour due to that heavy foot injury that he suffered in Jeffreys Bay, South Africa. Does he look like he's in pain over the last couple of days?
What a unique human. I mean, seeing him not compete all season and then watching him here at this event, I think we're going to see the best of Kelly today. This is really the place where he's going to shine. He's captaining this team, so he gets to kind of pick and allocate the surfers and when they surf in his team. So I think it's just going to be good, a good mix to see all of these surfers have a go at this, and there's a diversity to Team USA too.
Also, we focused on Medina being the standout on the men's side in the warm-up event at the Future Classic last season. Carissa Moore was the woman that took top honors and even upset Stephanie Gilmore at the last effort there on the left.
Yeah.
So Carissa being part of that squad is making a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, you got to surf both ways equally as good, and I think Carissa does that probably better than anyone. You know, her backhand surfing out here was well, it was the best because she won. I mean, posting 2 solid scores. Steph was up in the 9s on the right-hander, but then failed to perform on the left. So that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, is how good you can surf that left-hander. Really
impressed to see what Team USA is coming through with, and also looking at the warm-up session and anticipating that first opening wave this morning, Rosie. How did the nerves seem to be different for these top athletes in this kind of field at the WSL Surf Ranch?
It's incredible, that pressure when you're sitting at the back there waiting for your turn to come around. Steph Gilmore said it yesterday, if you mess up a wave here, you pretty much only have yourself to blame. And I think that sits on your shoulders when you're paddling in and having that takeoff. So, you know, you're going to just be really wanting to make every single wave count, and it's a precious commodity. Every wave that comes through, you don't want to blow it.
Well, we've met the team captains. We've heard from them. We know their squads, and we know the rules and how they're going to compete. We're just moments away from the start of a historical event here at the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, as we are greeted by the Lemoore High School Marching Band. We'll be right back. Thanks for being with us here in Lemoore, California for the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. The stands are filling up quickly from people not just from California, but from all over the world. It's a few hours drive from Los Angeles, a couple hours from San Francisco, over 100 miles from the nearest ocean. And we're right here in Lemoore. It was kind of a top secret location where everyone could work on this great technology, but now releasing it to the world for the very first time. Joe Chappelle, Martin Potter, Rosie Hodge here, setting up a big day of action. As we know, we've already finished the Australian leg of the World Surf League Championship Tour, and it's been a really cool season to watch so far. Stephanie Gilmore, team captain of Australia, going for a 7th world title this year. And Rosie, she's currently #1 in the world.
It's incredible just to see Steph Gilmore after last year just come in to this season more fired up than ever. And that's what you want. You want to see Steph motivated and hungry, and that's when she becomes a dangerous competitor.
It was something that you said will happen before she kicks out of her career, of matching Lane Beachley with a 7th world title. Also, another person, Potts, that you're excited to watch, Lakey Peterson had a dream start winning the Roxy Pro on the Gold Coast.
Oh, she surfed incredibly well, and just perfecting her skills, getting better and better all the time. Watching her out here yesterday warming up, her backhand getting better as well. So fine-tuning her skills. I mean, it's good to see those usual suspects being challenged, so to speak. There's new surfers throwing their name in the ring, and I love it. It's going to mix things up. That young Caroline Marks is amazing as well. So the women's tour is looking as strong as it ever has.
And seeing that top 3 on the Jeep leaderboard, all representing here today at the Founders Cup. The men's side's been exciting as well. We've had some new names to celebrate with Italo Ferreira picking up a big win at Bells Beach and also kicking off the season with perfect Kira conditions for an incredible finals day with Julian Wilson taking top honors row.
It has been a dreamy season thus far. I mean, waves at every single stop that we've been at. And just to see, like we said, that new shuffle up of that top tier on the Jeep leaderboard, it's really great to see people that we've been waiting for to really stomp their authority on this championship tour. Julian Wilson right up the top there. Italo, we've been waiting for him to get a championship tour victory. That one at Bells Beach was emotional.
Such a special win there for everybody, but also giving a jump start to the rest of the Brazilian storm. They feed off each other. Medina sitting in the top 10 picture at the moment. Also Felipe Toledo, who'll be watching throughout the day today at the Founders Cup as you see the perfection of the WSL Surf Ranch. That's a left on the screen. We call waves rights and lefts depending on the direction you're going. If you're paddling into the wave, if you're going left, that's what you call it when you see that wave going by. They're practically perfect. How do you separate the difference, Potts, between the left and the right as far as the sections on offer?
I think it's pretty similar. I think the right-hander offers maybe a better tube ride. The left-hander more maneuver-based, but I think what the difference is the wind. I think when Kelly thought about this wave pool, he built the right with a predominantly offshore wind, so the wind's blowing into the face of the wave, keeps it a lot cleaner, holds that barrel open. The left-hander, what we call an onshore, the wind blows from behind, so crumbles it a little bit, so more maneuver-based, but that's where the air game's going to come into play.
Really looking forward to today, but this event is called the Founders Cup for good reason. The founding fathers of the sport that created this idea of pro surfing way back in the day. And Kelly Slater himself gets to talk about our founding fathers.
Yeah, I think this is great because this is an evolution of the sport in some way, coming into a man-made wave, and to kind of pay homage to the guys who created this sport in the first place back in the 70s. I think it's nice to honor them. I think it's just overdue. I don't know. I mean, we always try to honor the guys before us, but this is a really important event, I think, for the future and the evolution of our sport. And, to pay tribute to those guys, I think it makes them feel really included in the event and really feel good overall.
Great to hear from Kelly Slater honoring the founding fathers that are all here watching this go down, from Fred Hemmings from Honolulu, Hawaii, inventing the Pipe Masters and the Triple Crown. They called him Dead Ahead Fred, a great contest director back in the day. And Cairns from West Oz, one of the best big wave surfers of his time, and ASP architect back in the day. Mark Richards, one of Potts' great rivals, a 4-time world champ, had a blast yesterday in the Founders Surf Session. PT, the first ever ASP world champ, now called WSL. And he's from Coolangatta, the Gold Coast, has a lot of barrels behind him. Randy Rarick, involved with the Triple Crown as executive director from '83 all the way to 2012. Great in Sunset events back in the day as well. Sean Thompson, your mentor, and also Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, former CEO. The man has been probably the most barreled ever in Kira history, and they're all here on deck watching it all go down. Really exciting to see what's going to happen today here on this perfect magical wave, as we really want to check out to see how perfect it really is, Potts. We got to really break this down on the perfection meter and also on this beautiful world. We're up here in kind of that central California zone in Lemoore, over 100 miles off the coastline. And this was kind of a secret location you know, even the people working on the surf ranch were telling people locally that it was a tilapia farm. You know, they didn't want any eyes spying on them, finding the technology, and they were honest. They said they didn't know if this was going to work. And they've had a couple of different versions, still calling it a prototype, and they have sites to make it better and better. It's about a 15-acre pool. We've got over a 2,000 feet travel time of a ride that will carry you for 45 seconds. A right and a left, over 100 tons on this hydrofoil that creates groundswell technology. Compared to wind swell, groundswell is a lot more powerful, and it's a wave that really can mimic what you'd ride in the ocean every day. The thing is, we found our teams, we've seen the wave. I'm about to put everybody on the spot here. Martin Potter, which team is going to take out the first ever Founders Cup?
I think Brazil is. Just going off what we saw last year at the Future Classic, as well as the warm-up sessions that we've seen yesterday, I think Brazil are going to be really tough to beat.
I can see that pick. Rosie, I'm going straight to you.
Alrighty, well, all things considered, I'm going Team USA. I'm flying the flag.
Very nice. Reasons for that?
I just feel, I mean, look at their team. It's pretty watertight. We've got some solid surfers. You've got Kelly Slater as the captain. I feel like we're going to see some fireworks from those guys.
I can't get past the squad at Team Australia. Stephanie Gilmore, the most barreled. A lot of comparisons to Greenmount. You've got Parko, Mick Fanning, Tyler Wright, two-time reigning champion Maddie Wilkinson. Kaipo, I'm going to put you on the spot. Kaipo Guerrero, who's your pick to win?
Team USA, Joe, especially the surfers from the 50th state, John Florence and Carissa Moore. They're going to make the difference here. Let's hear from Pete and Chris in the perch.
Thank you, Kaipo. Pete, let's hear your pick.
Well, I'm going Australia. You got 4 world champions on the 5-man team, so I'm going with those world champions can deal with the pressure.
All right, I'm going with the surfing that I want to see, that I think this system was made for dynamic aerial surfing. I'm going Team Brazil. Strider Wasilewski, who's your pick?
This is for everybody. Thank you for coming out.
I'm up for the, you know what, Team USA. It's on. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one of those moments. We're going to see the best in the world rise to the top. And I think Kelly Slater and John are the best in the world, along with Carissa. I mean, are you kidding me? Lakey Peterson, Kalohe Andino, let's do this!
Strider Wasilewski in the water, making his call out there. So we had a nice little mix of predictions there. Team USA, you came out of that quickly, Rosie, the other day. And Potts also with Brazil, what you saw at the Future Classic. A couple of great picks there. So we'll see what's going to happen first thing in the morning. Obviously, Chris Gauthier is on hand. He had a great call there as well, right next to Peter Mel, former big wave champ. So we've got a great crew on hand to call this great event. Gabriel Medina, our team captain for Brazil, is setting the stage for us first thing in the morning.
I'm Gabriel Medina, captain of Team Brazil. I'm joined by Adriano de Souza, Felipe Toledo, Tainá Hickey, and Silvana Lima.
And now looking at Felipe Toledo, anticipating a huge start for a groundbreaking day in surfing history. We'll always remember May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2018 is the first ever live broadcast, first ever public event here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Toledo, one of the best surfers to compete back in the warm-up session. He's had a couple of great attempts above the lip over the last couple of days. One of the best make ratios as far as turning in high-performance maneuvers. And he's going to be playing a massive role today for Team Brazil. Potts.
Well, he's going to set the stage, Joe. He's going to open his account. He's going to set the judging criteria scale. You know, and the good thing is he's got 3 shots at it, so mix it up. You know, I think there's a barrel section that is absolutely perfect for those big alley-oops, so it's going to be interesting to see where Felipe Toledo goes. I'm sure the first wave is going to be traditional, right at how it's supposed to be ridden, and then mix it up from there.
Starting off with our first run, we'll have 100 waves ridden today on Saturday. And the first wave about to go down with Felipe Toledo for Team Brazil. First turn out of the way for Toledo. Nice carve into a snap off the top. Driving hard in the pocket, 3 big turns and a 4th. Picks that rail back up and is still swinging hard. Blasting it off the lip, total control. Stretching this one out down the line with a power hack off the roof. Beautiful momentum, floating it off the top. Toledo Another lofty float. So far, so good as he's running down the line. Now looking to square up in the tube. Toledo styles his way through. No nerves for the start of Toledo from Ubatuba, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Wow. What a way to start, Joe.
Welcome to the WSL Surf Ranch. The first wave ridden. And Toledo smiling his way through. We talk about the pressure of a stadium looking down on him. He appeared to have no nerves. How'd you like the start, Potts?
Yeah, well, I knew that the first wave he was going to ride was going to be more traditional style. Nothing too radical. Get that first score on the board. Try and make very few mistakes along the wave. He made a mistake right there, but managed to regather. Unbelievable stuff from Toledo. Talk about nerves. The ability to be able to handle the nerves on the opening wave of one of the most incredible events so far this year. It's going to be incredible. But the thing that I like about Felipe, he just made sure he finished that wave on his feet, completed the ride all the way through. Nothing too crazy. You watch the next wave that he catches, though. He's going to light it up a little bit more, show a little bit more pizzazz. But nice, clean, mistake-free surfing, setting the scale for the day. And what a beautiful little barrel on the end there. Absolutely fantastic from Toledo. What a way to start for Team Brazil.
You just think about the pressure that was on his shoulders to start the entire contest and living up to the expectations. Martin Potter was talking a little bit about what would be a strategy for this event. Well, for Team Brazil, there's 5 surfers on, 3 men, 2 women. For Felipe, he's going to have 6 waves in round 1, 2, and 3 total. So he'll have 3 rights and 3 lefts. He'll keep his best right and best left, and that'll go into the tally to try to get his team into the final round of competition tomorrow on finals day. So that's his first left, and he'll get a score for that. He'll have 2 more tries to improve on that to see if he'll make that final. We've got the most incredible crowd here in Lemoore as they are amping up to see the world's best compete on absolute perfection. Toledo kicking things off, followed by Taina Hinkle, also De Souza, a world champ, Silvana Lima, one of the most exciting surfers in the world, a part of the top 17 on the championship tour, and Gabriel Medina, team captain, the first ever world champ for Brazil.
Well, that's the order. So obviously Gabriel Medina is going to shoulder the pressure. So if anyone makes mistakes along the way, Gabriel's got to pick up the slack, and I think that's a good move there. Toledo setting the scale, starting the team off well. Medina backing it up, making sure that he comes out through with flying colors at the end.
You can see how they just set up those rotations. Who's going to go first? Who's going to break the ice and give the team confidence? That was Toledo's role, and he did just that. Perfect surfing on the backhand. The team squad absolutely fired up. Silvana Lima there wearing the hat. She'll be coming up soon. Now Felipe Toledo setting up his right-hander, first of the morning. Known as the fastest surfer in the world by most of his competitors on the top 34, layback jam on the open face. Puts himself perfectly in the tube. Wave spits behind him. Man-made perfection. Circling around Toledo, now out in front of the open face. Clean snap down to the bottom. Another jam off the top. Toledo once more out of the tube. Resets for maneuvers. And now winding up. Inside section funneling nice and deep. Still has some room. Tries to go for the big air on the inside corner, but he can't hang on. Felipe Toledo finishes his first run of the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. A high-fi surfer living up to the expectations. What'd you like about the start, Punch?
Yeah, well, nice and easy start. You know, this is the kind of start I kind of knew Felipe was going to approach to. One of the more radical surfers, one of the more innovative surfers in the world, but sticking just to that traditional rail game and then setting up for the tube. So this is one of the most important parts of the wave right here. To try and get as deep as possible. The longer you stay in there, obviously, you're going to be getting the bigger points. You can see there the tube time, 11, 12, 13 seconds as he comes out of that one. So not a bad start from Toledo, but kind of a little bit of a disappointing end here. I thought maybe just to finish that wave on his feet like he did with wave number 1. Unfortunate for him, the wipeout at the end. I mean, this is a wave that demands a lot of energy. You've got to put a lot of work in. It's very tiring, it's very taxing, and then when you get to that end section, you've got to have a little bit left in the tank, and I prefer him to maybe finish on his feet rather than go for that throwaway air maneuver right there. But that's a sign of things to come from Toledo, isn't it?
Incredible just to see how demanding this wave is. You're on it for about 45 seconds plus. You have a lot of blood flow in your body when you go for a big maneuver like that. He basically didn't have much left to throw that one down. When we saw him surf this wave last year, Putz, he was visiting the chiropractor almost after every wave just to loosen up his body. One of the most exciting surfers in the world from Ubatuba, Sao Paulo, living in San Clemente, but he's going to have to take a moment to catch his breath.
Yeah, well, these, I mean, these guys are the fittest surfers in the world, and look at his right leg. You can see the blood flow through that right thigh there. I mean, it's a taxing wave, and you've got to really breathe through it, take your time with it. But then you can't, though, because you've got to react. You've got to make sure you fit in those big turns, those big maneuvers. Toledo, a good start from him, but...
mais difícil no final. Eu não vou nem botar no tubo.
Dad's probably saying, don't fall again.
No final, foi ele tem enganchadinho, tirou aí, show. E aí depois botou no tubo, ficou muito deep o tubo no final. Tu lá dentro, assim, a galera...
So Ricardo Toledo,
Foi saindo assim. Pô, foi irado.
the father of Felipe, just catching up real quick about the right and the left.
Tentativa. Dado mais Tava saindo certinho, só que o vento tirou. Não sei se era o vento certo, mas foi bom.
Scores coming in for Toledo, 7.83 on the left. Waiting for numbers to drop for his right-hander as well as Taina Hinkle prepares. Saw Taina get the call up last year as a wild card in Rio de Janeiro. Got to battle with the best surfers in the world. So a big opportunity getting called up to one of the squads that's predicted to possibly go all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Toledo's second score just dropped, Joe.
It's a 6.93. We'll get you caught up with that. Taina about to kick off her first run. Setting up the backhand attack. Left foot forward. She's a regular foot surfer, so the lefts are always going to be on her backhand. Starting off with some classic backside surfing. Ends up going for a big vertical turn, and she can't hang on. A tough start for Taina. Couple of waves scored so far, and she'll have to recover on the right. Now let's hear from Felipe Toledo with Kaipo.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Felipe, talk to us a little bit about what an honor it is to ride the first wave at this historic event.
Oh God, that actually feels like my first event ever. You know, I was really nervous out there. You know, you could hear the crowd loud. You know, in the water, everybody cheering for you. And once you hear the machine coming, everybody screaming. You're just like, oh God, it's time. But yeah, I'm glad I surfed well that wave, and I finished my waves, and yeah, I felt good.
Yeah, great start. A little bit of a mistake on the right. How are we going to make up for that?
Yeah, I know. I was feeling confident for the finish, and I don't know. It's just not good luck, you know. It was one of those errors that you know it happens. But yeah, now next time more confident for the next waves, and but I feel good. You know, I feel good. I surfed well. My board's working good, and it's a dream to be here.
We'll see you in run number 2. Felipe Toledo, Joe.
Thank you so much, Kaipo. Great to hear from Toledo. 7.83, the right 6.93. Decent score, but he's always seeing room for improvement. Missing that finishing error. Definitely what he's known for is going really hard above the lip. Meanwhile, Taina Hinkle, 2.17 on her start as she prepares for her right here at the WSL Surf Ranch. We'll take a quick break. The Founders Cup of Surfing continues right after this. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Surfing history being made as we speak. We just finished the first run for Felipe Toledo. He turned in a 7.83 and a 6.93 representing Team Brazil. Taina Hinkle just kicked out of her 2.17 on her first ride on the left. Now she'll get the right, heading back to the other side of this big lake here in Lemoore. And she'll try to put a big number on the board so her team could potentially get a spot in the final round tomorrow. Wave approaching. Taina looking for a big first turn. Getting herself down the line. Clean snap off the lip. Beautiful motion to hammer it right in the pocket. Setup work. It's getting nice and hollow. Looking for a spot to pull in. Hinkle missing the barrel there. Keeping it nice and tight in the pocket. Quick little ride there for her to just get a quick vision of the tube. Belts it off the lip again and looking for more. Little setup turn for Taina. Looking to pull in one more time. Wants to try to get deep. She'll be out in front, but that puts her in a great position for a big frontside hack into a carving snap on the inside corner. Hinkle start 2.17 on the left, trying to get more out of the scale on the right. Had a couple of bonus turns, didn't really capitalize on the barrel though, Potts, but we got to see what she's capable of on the open face.
Yeah, well, you know, you get 6 rolls of the dice, so just feeling it out. You know, obviously a wipeout on that first wave would have kind of put a little bit of pressure on Taina, but, you know, just cool, casual approach to this wave. You know, when she does hook into her maneuvers though, Joe, she's got a lot of power, that wide base stance. And this was that setup work, just waiting for the tube, but, you know, keeping her foot on the gas. And I think you need to try and use that right hand, place it in the face of the wave, slow yourself down and try and get as deep as possible like Felipe did on his opening wave. But Taina just showing that, you know, just wants to iron out the creases here in run number 1. I love the maneuver choices. And you talk about running ahead of this end section as well, but it did set her up for a couple of good turns. So it's definitely going to better her 2.17. This last maneuver here, you can see just ahead of the tube ride, but this turn right here, nice snap off the top. So when she does really hook into her maneuvers, they are dynamic, and I think it's a sign of things to come there for Taina.
You can see the reaction from Toledo and Team Brazil setting the stage for us early in the morning here in Lemoore. 2 surfers out of the way for Team Brazil, and we've got a lot to look forward to. De Souza, the 2015 world champ. Silvana Lima, one of the fastest surfers in the world on the top 17. And then team captain Gabriel Medina. Everyone's getting a little bit of a warm-up. This wave has kind of been nicknamed the Stoke Machine because you can't stop smiling after getting a wave out here. But there's a little bit extra pressure we're feeling in the air this morning because now points are on the line. It's all about possibly being the first team to win the Founders Cup.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the added pressure of not letting your teammates down. I think that's going to come into play as well. So, you know, just a different way of competing. Obviously, I think a lot of the younger surfers will be familiar with it, surfing in the ISAs, you know, competing for your country. This is very similar to that. Watch Gabriel Medina do that. Watch Felipe Toledo do that. But, you know, it's that added pressure of not letting your teammates down.
So a huge run here for Team Brazil, led by a captain named Medina, who's the most followed surfer on the World Surf League Championship Tour. More followers on his Instagram than Kelly and John combined. And now Taina Hinkle already standing by with Kaipo.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Taina, you are surfing with some of your heroes out of Brazil. What an honor is it?
Yeah, for sure, it's an honor to be here. I'm just having fun. I was a little bit nervous in the end, but it's okay. Just starting. Yeah, it's really fun, and I'm so happy to be here.
How are we going to fix that up for run number 2?
I will just surf and do my best and try to help the team.
Thanks a lot for your time, Joe.
Thank you, Kaipo. Great to hear from Taina Hinkle. Just finishing her first run and now setting this one up for the 2015 world champ, Adriana de Souza. Big hack in the pocket. Third turn, throwing some water. Total control from Adriano. Drifting that last turn off the lip. Uses the whitewater well to coil up for another big move. Winds up vertically. Back out in front. De Souza just drilling a ton of vertical backside turns. Staying consistent, nice and easy tempo. He's now squaring up for the tube ride. Gets the completion, last section for Adriano. Still has some energy to drill the backhand roundhouse cutback. Bonus section will take him to the ramp, and De Souza puts his first number on the board.
Yeah, that was a solid wave there from a former world champion. And you can see the grimace on his face, Joe, after that wave. You could tell a lot of energy expended in that wave. And now he's got about 3 minutes or so to get himself back into that nice sort of calm approach, taking the deep breaths, try and shake that back leg and get those get that lactic acid buildup out of that leg. But, you know, just a solid approach from Adriano De Souza. I mean, probably technically one of the best backhand surfers on tour. I mean, just never looked like missing a beat this entire wave. Smooth, clean, right in the pocket style of surfing. So I'm looking at this being right up there, close to the excellent score on wave number one. So De Souza out of the blocks firing. I mean, just look at that rapid fire, maneuver after maneuver. And that's what you got to do. Just keep unloading big turns, building your points all the way through the inside, not missing too many sections. Just nice, clean, beautiful surfing from the former world champ. Kind of similar to what we saw last year that took him to the win in Saquarema on the backhand, and then this right here. This is a very important part of the wave. Look at that technique there. Grabs the rail, look at the back leg, fully compressed on the board. Now he almost kneels down on that back foot to get himself nice and deep. You can see him keeping in touch with that left hand there, feeling the face of the wave, keeping in touch with that speed of the wave. So great there from De Souza.
The 2015 world champ De Souza puts his first number on the board. His rights coming up next, right after this quick break. You're watching the World Surf League's Founders Cup, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Cold. Team Brazil in the lineup with Adriano De Souza, the 2015 world champ, about to set up his first right-hander of the day. Just fresh off a 6.83 on the left. Here comes the right. First turn, squaring up off the lip. Nice lively rock and roll float. Off the floater section again, he'll wind up. Bottom drops out, pulls it right into the tube. Still running for the exit. Classic tube style from the former pipe master. Jams it straight up vertical. Nice flow off the lip again. Clean off the bottom, off the top surfing from De Souza. Nice hollow section towards the tail end. Great positioning to get the completion. Does he have enough time for one more move? Little layback to finish. De Souza, two waves, stays on his feet and puts another solid number on the board for Team Brazil. Silvana Lima on deck to come up next. De Souza's had wins all around the world, being called a world champ for good reason because of his consistency. How'd you like the start, Potts?
Yeah, not a bad start there from Adriano De Souza. I think he kind of got caught in a in a sort of a rhythm of trying to do the same maneuver again, kind of tagging the lip, similar turn again, but that right there, the transition between off the top into the barrel, I think that's where the points are going to come from. A nice, deep, long tube ride. I think 13.9 seconds so far, the longest tube ride. De Souza in, still going, 9-10, and he comes out. So 11.5 seconds from De Souza, not bad for his first run. Keep it in mind, these guys have got 3 runs, so 6 waves can be counted. The first run, just feeling it out, getting those nerves out of the way. It's a big crowd on hand. So these guys are just going to wipe out the cobwebs, get their feet in the wax, like I like to say. And first run's just kind of a warm-up, Joe.
That's right. First run, you want to get a decent score on the board so you can push harder on your second run, which is later on today. The third run will be tomorrow before the final round. And each surfer just keeps their best right and best left for their team to try to make the final round. So every team has 5 surfers, 3 men, 2 women. We see Felipe Toledo, Taina Hinkle, De Souza, and Silvana Lima's coming up next.
Yeah, big smiles from De Souza. Team Brazil are loving it right now. And why wouldn't you?
What a special day in surfing history. Potts, you got to compete in Pennsylvania in wave pool technology. We've seen the events in Irvine back in the day, which Kelly won a long time ago. Our own Kaipa was in that event as well. But nothing like this stage, groundswell technology in front of a sold-out stadium like this.
Yeah, I think one of the best wave pools I surfed in back in the 80s was the Wave Dome in Japan, a place called Miyazaki, but nothing compares to this. I mean, it was the longest wave you could get there was probably about 5 or 7 seconds. Here you've got a 45-second ride, so there's plenty of time to ride the wave, plenty of time to do maneuvers, but also plenty of time to make mistakes, and I think that's what they got to work out.
Unbelievable start to the morning here at the Founders Cup. We always go to Strider Raspberry Wazalewski for a conditioned report, but I know, Waz, what you're going to say, it's absolutely perfect out there.
It's pumping out here. You know what? It's amazing sitting just underneath the barrel section on the inside here on the left. You're really, you can gauge it, get close and watch the expression on their face. It's absolutely incredible.
Unbelievable to see the start from Toledo, then to Taina, then to De Souza. How were the crowd reactions, Strider, what you witnessed go down this morning?
It's unbelievable. I went down to the other end of the north end. I mean, we're 700 yards away from that right now, but you can hear the crowd going nuts. I went down there, and the vibe is just amazing, let me tell you.
Really loving it. Strider in the water once again, just like you see him around the world on the championship tour as Silvana Lima prepares her first run for Team Brazil. One of the fastest surfers in the world. Former champ at Bells Beach, lower trestles, and the list goes on. Now setting up the left here. Couple of nice carving turns just off the top, trying to push her points down the line. Big bottom turn for Silvana. Times it well off the lip. Little drawn out carve and jamming it, more of a snapping turn in the pocket. Picking up her board after that quick little bobble there. Oh. She ends up going for a float and she can't hang on. A series of turns early in that one and ends up running through the inside. Looks like Kaipa's with Felipe.
Thank you, Adriano. Let's tell a little story right here. Adriano came up over here, no leash. She was talk about confidence, but you do need to wear a leash. It's mandatory in the wave pool. But talk to us about the confidence that you have, Adriano.
Wow, this the day for me started pretty crazy because I received my new boards from China Island, and this new technology I rode in Mentawais. I was there last 2 weeks, and I tried, but like the boards just come from Australia, but this one comes from America. So I say, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. And I didn't even try the board before my heat, so. And I said, I'm going, I'm confident, and without leash, without everything, so I'm go there, I'm ready, so. And I'm so happy I did well, I think, in my opinion, you know, so. And I'm stoked, and I hope I can help Brazil to at least make the final here.
Great job out there. Can't wait to see what you got in run number 2. Adriano de Souza.
Thank you, Kaipo. De Souza doing a great job for Team Brazil. His last wave, a 7.93 on the right. The highest single score for Team Brazil as this one continues. Up next, Silvana Lima takes a right here at the Founders Cup. Team Brazil setting the stage in Lemoore, California. We've seen Toledo, Taina Hinkle, Adriano de Souza, and the first wave of Silvana Lima that came in at a 5.5 before we went to break. Now Lima looking to take apart the right-hander and setting up her first move. Nice draw off the lip to get this one going down the line. Front side float, another float off the top for Lima. Jams it out front. This is where it gets nice and hollow. Puts herself positioned perfectly in the two. Not too deep, so she still stalls for just a little bit more. Now finding the positioning she loves. Back to maneuvers, clean off the top. More of a jamming snap on the next one, and she'll now filter through to this hollow section on the inside corner. Completely gone behind the curtain, but too deep, and Silvana goes down. Some brilliant turns all the way down the line. Even with her fall on the left, she turned in a 5.5 and getting a little bit more done on the right-hander putts.
Yeah, absolutely. Just riding that tube, absolutely perfect, I thought. I mean, just biting off a little bit too much on that inside section, but first run, I'm pretty impressed with Silvana Lima. Her board looks really good under her feet. Just looks confident as well, you know. So sometimes Silvana, her timing can be just a little bit off, a little bit sort of rattled, but not here this morning. I mean, look at that nice snap to barrel combo, sitting nice and deep, and there's the T-Mobile tube time as she pulls into a nice little section, driving through, still in the barrel again, 8, 9, 10, and she comes out there 11, 12 seconds, Joe. Wow. So that's close to what being one of the longest tube rides of the morning. And then this nice clean inside as well, setting that inside tube just a little bit too deep, unfortunately, but a nice start there for Silvana Lima.
Silvana Lima looks incredible, very excited to perform on the right. Strider, what did you see there?
Well, the right was amazing. She had a great setup. She looked good. She looked confident. But the left, you could see the tentativeness and the nervousness settling in. I saw it happening, and then sure enough, she fell off on the inside. So I think it's something she's really going to have to get in the driver's seat and put into motion. And also, Gabriel Medina, the team captain, came out here for that young lady and told her, sit deeper. We brought her up a few poles. There's poles out here for definition of where to sit. Put her way up on the poles to get her deeper on the wave.
Thank you, Strider, for the inside. These teammates working off the system on the fly. You can see those poles that Silvana's paddling by right there. There's a couple that are marked with tape on where they like to take off. Toledo's already flexing, representing Team Brazil. This is the passion that we've seen for decades on the championship tour, Potts. The Brazilians would always stick together, win or lose, to hope that one of them would podium and take down all the big titles. Now here at the Founders Cup with this format, it just makes so much sense for their country backing each other on every single way.
Yeah, I mean, Brazil, definitely one of the superpowers in the sport of surfing. Gabriel Medina, the first South American world champion, first Brazilian world champion, followed right behind there by Adriano de Souza. And I dare say there's going to be a few more world titles coming out of that country for sure.
Silvana Lima getting a 7.73 and a 5.5. The 7.73 we just saw go down on the right-hander. Remember, De Souza's right, 7.93. So she's right in that same conversation, even without making the tube. So a great start there. Judges rewarding what she did in the pocket, some aggressive maneuvers as well. And the first tube section, we almost thought she was getting too greedy maybe on that next section, but she pulled it off butts.
She did. An amazing talent, Silvana Lima. I think she, in my eyes, maybe underachieved a little bit, I think, due to injury. I think when she came on tour back in the day, I thought for sure this young lady was going to have a world title under her belt, but she's not done yet, is she? I mean, she's surfing incredibly well, back in that winning feeling, surfing really good. So let's see what she's got for the rest of the day.
Team captain's proud of his squad so far. Now it's up to him to add to the point total. Gabriel Medina getting started. The first ever Brazilian world champ, starting off with a running left named after Jerry Lopez. Couple of stabbing turns off the lip. Jams a big fan out the back. Blasting it well. This one starting to run down the line. Easy float for Medina. Tail drift on the next section. Another blow tail off the top. Perfect tempo. Blows the tail even harder. Throwing some risk. Out here at the surf ranch. Blow tail reverse. Medina gets swallowed up at the whitewater. Still fighting for the finish, but he can't hang on. Incredible composure there. Team captain wanted to push the progressive element on his opening wave of the day.
I like it. You know, let's see more of that, Joe. You know, that's what this wave allows you to do. It allows you to set things up. And, you know, if he's practiced his run over the last couple of days, I'm sure Medina there is going to make that. I mean, his completion rate is incredible as far as innovative moves go, but solid on his feet as well. I mean, look how quick and sharp he's looking. That board looking really good under his feet. Each maneuver, throw and spray out of the back, which means power. Spray out the back. The higher it goes, the more he's pushing. And you can see him just cranking it up, turn after turn, and then starts to really cut loose through the inside section. Fins out the back again. I mean, this is on the edge kind of surfing that the judges really want to see. And again, throwing that tail out, throwing a lot of spray through the sky. Gabriel Medina's going to lock in a fairly good score to kick things off. He's not going to be happy with that wipeout, though.
That's right. As we check out the Jeep team leaderboard for Brazil, kicking off the morning here in Lemoore, California. Tina Hickel, 2.17. She had a quick fall, recovered to a 4.17. Toledo, members started off the whole morning 7.83 and a 6.93 out of the gates. The 7.83 was on his left, so we see some room to move there with improvement when they have their second run later on today. Total of 100 waves will be ridden by all of our teams here on the opening day on Saturday to establish the leaderboard heading into the final rounds of competition. Medina has one more wave to go, coming up right after the break. Welcome back to Lemoore, California. We are seeing surfing history completely changed forever. A brand new platform that just felt like a dream scenario when you start hearing rumors of what was happening up here in California. Next thing you know, we get to see this technology released to the world in the first ever selling of tickets, the public here on hand at the WSL Surf Ranch to watch the world's best compete in a team format. Captain of Brazil, Gabriel Medina, now setting up his first right of the event. Nice snap to get this one flowing down the line. Jams it vertically. Starting to heat up. Hits it off the roof. Bottom drops out. Medina's ready to square up for the 2. Perfect positioning. Tunnel vision for Medina. He'll get out of there. Back out in front. Knifes it off the lip again. Drills it in transition. Medina finding his flow. Slams on the brakes. Nice and hollow on this inside corner. Styling his way through. He still has some room to go for a big backside punt. He can't hang on. But what an incredible start for team captain Medina. His right and left complete. Team Brazil showing what they're capable of today. First thing in the morning. Unbelievable ability for Medina to still have something left to even attempt that punt on the inside corner.
Yeah, well, exactly right, Joe. These guys are finely tuned athletes, but what a tube ride there from Gabriel Medina. I think this is going to rival the longest tube of the day here. Let's have a look as he slides in the T-Mobile tube time from former world champion Gabriel Medina. Perfect positioning. You can see him using part of his body to slow himself down, grabbing that outside rail just to give himself extra time in the barrel. 13.7 seconds for Gabriel Medina, and then adds a little bit on the extra on the end here, Joe. So Gabriel Medina looking like he's going to drop a pretty solid score on wave number 2.
Unbelievable ride there for Gabriel Medina, kicking things off in such a solid way. Remember, 6.67 was his start on the left. Now standing by for scores from the right. On the left, we have the 7.83 for Toledo. So a great start for Team Brazil as we now can check out the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold recap of what happens here with Team Brazil to kick off the morning here at the WSL Founders Cup. Seeing some brilliant form from Toledo, and just being the first guy to catch a wave says it all. He said it felt like the first heat of his life. He electrified this crowd with beautiful backside work. 7.83 on the first wave was a huge statement.
Yeah, a huge statement from Team Brazil. 2 world champions and surfing like it as well. I mean, these guys are going to be tough to beat, but opened up the account. It's always tough to be the first one because the judges are going to set the scale for the rest of the day. That's the yardstick, so to speak, as far as the scoring goes. Team Brazil off to a good start. Still waiting for Gabriel Medina's wave number 2 to get locked in, but it's given everyone a bit of a look at it, and now they know what they're up against.
Special showcase of talent. Medina, a quick shake of the hands of team captain Jordy Smith. He's representing Team World. Preparing and coming up next. Following Medina all the way right next to Kaipo Guerrero.
Yeah, thanks. Straight out of the water. Gabe, great surfing. You're coming out swinging. You are putting some risk in your maneuvers on the first run.
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling confidence to go there and surf, and yeah, I tried to do my best in the left, and then in the right I just tried to get all the way to the end, and yeah, I'm just stoked to be surfing here.
13.7 seconds in the barrel. Can you stay in the barrel longer than that?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, it's just too perfect. It depends on you, you know, but I think so.
Great surfing, Gabe. We'll see you in run 2.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaipo. Great to hear from Gabriel Medina. Won a world title when he was still just 20 years of age, and the team captain for Brazil since he was the first ever world champ. De Souza won the following season. Now the numbers are in. Gabriel turns in a 7.83 on the right. So a solid one there, just under De Souza's 7.93 that he had on the right. As we get things started for Team World with the Tahitian Michel Perez. Power hacking these sections. Looking like he's feeling the sense of urgency to explode out of the gates. Power is looking lethal. They call him the most powerful surfer on the world, and he's just detonating the lift on every single section. Not even breathing between turns, into the backhand carve and whips it right off the lip again. Hammering that section, he'll just slow down a bit to get the vision in the tube. Great positioning for the Spartan. He comes out. Still some energy to burn on the backhand wrap. Unbelievable start for Michel, representing Team World today at the Founders Cup.
Well, that was pure attack mode from the Spartan. And Michel Perez looks like he is going to lock in a fantastic wave number 1 for Team World. But I tell you what, Michel Perez has been looking dangerous in the practice, and he's looking dangerous here this morning.
So Michel Perez starting things off for the World team, followed by the captain, Jordy Smith, coming up next. Then we'll see a nice rotation there for Bianca Buitendijk from South Africa, Paige Hareb representing New Zealand, and Kanoa Igarashi from Japan. Let's see this power once again.
Well, I think that's the focus on this wave, really. It's a pure attack mode from Michel Perez, reckless abandon. I mean, he's producing turns really where he shouldn't be, throwing it up and over the white water. I mean, he's mixing it up. You can see there's a sense of urgency from Michel Perez. He knows he's got to crank it up to try and outpoint Team Brazil, setting up the inside as well. So Michel Perez really didn't put a foot wrong on this wave. Showed a lot more power, a lot more poise than Team Brazil did on their opening accounts. Sort of more of a cruisy approach for Team Brazil, whereas Michel Perez just came out firing on all cylinders, Joe.
Incredible start for the Tahitian, getting his first number on the board. Coming up next, he'll take on his right here at the WSL Surf Ranch, and we'll be bringing in Chris Cote, former big wave world champ. Peter Mel for the call right after this.
Welcome back, surf fans, to the WSL Founders Cup, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Chris Cote here with Pete Mel. We are witnessing Team World as they enter the WSL Surf Ranch for the first time. This historic event. This is Michel Perez representing Tahiti for Team World. The powerhouse, opening it up, setting up these crucial first couple of turns that will really project him down the line. A big tail sliding maneuver as he starts to lock in, and here we go. Tube time for Perez. Stalling, trying to fit that big frame. Comes out clean. Not a drop of water out of place here as Perez gets hung up in the lip line, but now gets board back under control. Another big snapping turn. Perez looking very comfortable. You know, what could be considered one of the newest, most perfect waves on the planet, but Perez gets too deep and gets eaten. And that is the critical element that we will see in the tube riding here today. You've got to get yourself deep, but not too deep, as we saw Perez right there, the first one to get eaten by this WSL Surf Ranch tube.
Yeah, well, you know what, Perez, I love how he came out of the gates firing. I think that if you're doing high-risk maneuvers on the very first section, that's when you're going to get those big points. And he came out with a lot of energy, both on his left and his right. He has produced himself a lot of speed, and I like that. I think that's high-risk surfing, and he's doing it on that outside section. The judges will take note of that.
Now, even though you've got superstars on this Team World, on paper, you would have to consider this team the underdog. I mean, if that's even possible. But then what we saw in practice yesterday from what we're seeing now from Perez, Team World is here to win.
And that turn right there, that's that high-risk move. Anytime you get those fins released out of the lip, go straight into the barrel here. And of course, that's where you need to hold that wall, but not too long, because what will happen is you can get too deep out here and you're going to get taken out very quickly. And this is what happens on this inside section. You know, he comes in with not enough speed out of that maneuver, and the wave just eats him alive.
think the good news there for Perez, he had a couple of just explosive turns, some of the biggest turns we've seen so far of the morning. And I think the judges are really looking just to be blown out of their seats. They're surf fans just like the rest of the 5,000 people here today. They want to see electrified surfing, and they're going to get it with Jordy Smith coming up next.
This is true. You know, Jordy's the captain. He's going to be setting the pace for Team World, although you just saw what Michel Perez was able to do there. Again, I like that. You know, as a team captain, you kind of want to, you know, you want to be able to influence your riders and what you want them to do to be able to post those points. And right there, let's see what Jordy can do.
Well, we saw Jordy in practice do some incredible surfing. One of the only surfers that we saw able to execute, pull a big alley-oop in his practice run. Hopefully, we can see Jordy put a line together. You know, one of the things that we're seeing here at WSL Surf Ranch is surfers starting, you know, they think about the maneuvers they're going to be attempting down the line, and sometimes that can play against them. If you overthink your wave here at the Surf Ranch, you could be in trouble.
That's so true, you know, and you do have a lot of time to think about it. And as soon as that machine starts and you can hear it cranking down the line, the anticipation is so wild. I mean, you're sitting in that pool, it's just all of a sudden the nerves, they just elevate even further.
The best way to explain it is being on a roller coaster. And you hear the clicking as you go up the hill. You know that big first drop is coming. Let's go down poolside to get an interview with that last surfer, Michel Perez.
Michel, 8.8, highest single wave score so far on that left, okay? What's it gonna take to get into the 9 range?
Wow, you're gonna have to do a big air, I think, in the middle of the wave, I think. But it's not what I'm going to do. It's not what people expect me to do. So I'm just gonna stick to my game and power surfing and flow, yeah.
Great opening run. Back to you, Chris.
Absolutely. Highest single wave score of the day for Michel Perez, an 8. And that just came from a power approach down the line, just throwing hammers. Here we go. Jordy Smith representing South Africa here on Team World. As we know, Jordy Smith has a lethal backhand. Switched up his board a little bit here. You see the rounded nose. He's starting to gain speed. This is where the wave really starts to pick up. Foam climb right there. One of the more critical foam climbs you'll see on the planet here, as that section has taken down previous competitors. Jordy now engaging his rail. And this is where Jordy is going to start hunting the tube. This section starts to build up. Another big tail sliding maneuver for Jordy as he hangs on. Going into that 3-point stance, into the barrel. He's deep. 6 foot plus frame. Tightly squeezed into that inside barrel section. So great, just calm, casual surfing down the line. Did nothing wrong, did nothing crazy, which I think he may be saving up for his next couple of waves, but I'm really liking what I see from that first wave of Jordy Smith. Pete, what do you think of this board Jordy's riding?
Well, and again, he's been trying out different equipment. As we take a look at this replay here, again, this board's going to have nice flow. A lot more volume up front, so he's just sitting off the tail, getting that pendulum working up and down. And of course, with Jordy, you like to see him start to put some release in it. And there's one maneuver here he does in the midsection of this where he gets full release of the tail. But look at the flow that he's carrying through these maneuvers, top to bottom. Judges love to see that. Again, attacking the lip. But look at this angle here as he gets the release. Straight up, tail above the lip, drifting around. Look at that as he connects back to his fork, just holding on by the barrel, just the toes on the deck pad, and somehow was able to get back into the barrel.
And that's exactly the kind of surfing this system is made for. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more action. You're watching the first ever WSL Founders Cup, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. That was a quick look back at Jordy Smith from the Future Classic T-Mobile dialed in moment. And here we are, you see thousands of surf fans lining the wall here. The WSL Surf Ranch, the first ever public event. The Future Classic, which went down a couple months ago at this prototype wave. That was our prototype event. Now we're into the real deal here. The Founders Cup is basically 5 teams, 5 regions, elite surfers on each team. And Pete, now we're seeing a board change for Jordy Smith, who switched, potentially having a board specially made for lefts, now going back to his standard board for the right. So we'll see what Jordy Smith can do here on his first right of this contest. Almost gets a little hung up on his first turn. High in this section. Get some air under his fins as he locks into the tube. You've got to get deep if you want to get the judges' attention. Jordy Smith almost fully disappearing there, dragging his back arm. Locked in again, now getting that clean exit. Expect fireworks here as Jordy Smith gets back on the open face. A series of 3 blistering turns from Smith. Now he's getting some speed down the line. He's going to opt out of the tube section, goes for the alley-oop and comes down with it. Jordy Smith nailing it on his first right of the day. That's exactly what we wanted to see. You know, I think that's what Kelly Slater and the engineers behind this wave could picture when they created this type of wave, because it's all about that high performance surfing. I mean, this is where things are going to change when guys like Jordy Smith do surfing like that at this wave system.
That's right. And you look at Jordy here in the replay. Outside in these further sections, he is throwing different angles of approach, so each turn, but as this one, the telegraphing of this alley-oop, he gets the above the lip and the spin rotation super quick. One of the things that the judges have said about surfing here in the criteria is that errors and progressive maneuvers will be highly rewarded.
Highly rewarded.
Highly rewarded. You see what the judges think here as we watch again the replay of this alley-oop. He is planted, stuck to his board, fully rotating all the way around and landing on the transition, on the lip, and comes out with a no clean claim.
See, I don't think you need to get 2 barrels per wave. I think it's all about mixing up your maneuvers. You can bypass that second barrel just like Jordy did there. And that is that crucial section at the end of this wave. And of course, when you do an air like that at the end of your wave, that's what the judges are going to remember. So let's go down to Rosie Hodge. She's going to be talking about Jordy Smith's board change.
That's right, guys. Well, just to note, Jordy here on the boat ramp, considering what board he was going to ride, he went for the 5.9 Omni on that left, then switched it around to 6.1.5 Tomo shortboard. So that board that he just got an incredible ride on the right-hander, that's 6.1.5 Tomo. Looking great. What do you guys reckon?
Well, I think it worked for Jordy right there. Pete, so what do you think would be, with just that subtle nose, you know, rounding off of that shorter board, fitting into the curve on the left?
Yeah, and just, I mean, I like how he had the little bit, you know, if you have that fuller volume up in the front on the backhand, it allows him to kind of sit back on the tail and really just kind of set the pendulum. And as if you see the switch up here with the Tomo to the, you know, the forehand with the normal board, you got to love that.
And an event within the event, the Quicksilver Big Air Award. And it's pretty obvious who it's going to at this point. We've got a lot of surfing yet to come. But the Quicksilver Big Air Award for all these things, variety, you know, the execution, the difficulty, the judges, again, they want to be blown out of their seats. And Jordy Smith did just that on that last wave. So the score has come in. A 9.07 for Jordy Smith, and also he has to be leading the Quicksilver Big Air conversation.
He would be for sure, you know, and you look at all of that, I think that one of the things about pulling off a big air like that is that you have to pull it off with style and not have any kind of a check or an arm down. He didn't do that. He landed it perfectly.
So alley-oop seeming to be the air du jour, if you will, of this this particular wave. I think a straight air would be more difficult, thus warranting a bigger score from the judges. Hopefully today we'll see some rodeo flips go down. I'd love to see even some attempts. You know, we'll see backside 540s, front fives. You know, this is where we're going to see, I think, more skateboarding, snowboarding style of maneuvers come into the surf world, because it's pretty rare to see a big, crazy air like that, you know, in these surf events. Here we go, Bianca Beitendok, surfer out of South Africa, representing here for Team World. She is an absolute powerhouse. Seen her do damage at waves like Fiji and Tahiti. and of course in beach breaks around the world, well suited for this wave. A little bit of trouble there through this inside section. Now she's getting back on pace. One thing about the WSL Surf Ranch, this wave, you cannot do too much or too little. You have to keep up with the lip line. Bianca's doing a great job at that. Kicking the tail out there a little bit. Now she'll be searching for this tube section. Nice and deep for Bianca Beitentak. So Bianca, she's got to be happy with that first wave. Her team, the first team we've seen of the day, all together on that landing area right there, cheering for each other. You see the teams kind of in their zones in that back end of this of the pool, and I like to see the whole team together cheering for each other. Here goes Bianca.
Yeah, and now so Bianca again on this replay here, but I agree, you know, having that team atmosphere, this is a team event. So we'll see that happening on the dock as we watch the replay here of the rhythm that Bianca is bringing on the forehand. You know, her backhand has always been very lethal, but she has got a very solid forehand as well. You know, in the judging criteria, you've got all these different elements that you have to utilize on a wave. And this wave being so long, as you watch again this slow-mo of the front hand snap. Again, getting the fins above the lip. Anytime that you're going to be pushing a little bit higher risk is getting that board above the lip, and then that sets up the barrel. The judge is also looking for the fact of being able to, you know, get into the barrel with style, with the, you know, with ease. And there it is, the team getting excited.
Well, Jordy Smith just set this pool ablaze with his surfing. Jordy is poolside with Kaipo Guerrero.
Jordy, great first run out here at the Founders Cup. You got some words right out of the water from Kelly Slater telling you. What was he telling you?
We kind of agreed on the same thing. In the beginning, I pushed a little too hard, and it ended up kind of slowing me down a bit. And then that just kind of set the pace for the whole wave. It was like, okay, well, now you just got to hammer. And so, yeah, I was just stoked. I mean, he should really be proud of this whole thing, you know, him and his whole team. And what a show. I think this weekend is going to be a very big deal in surfing, and just great to be a part of it.
Oh, historic weekend. And we're going to be back with more from the Founders Cup here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Stick around.
Welcome back, surf fans. You are watching the WSL Founders Cup. Right up and at it. Bianca Beitentak from South Africa, representing here for Team World. Remember, the top right and the top left score for these surfers will go towards their cumulative points total. Who will make the finals tomorrow? Will it be Team World? Just as we talk about the finals, Bianca looked like her inside rail just got a little caught. I mean, this is such a fast wave. When you see this thing in person, you see the speed that it starts generating down the line. It's really one of the fastest waves on the planet. And I think it got the better of Bianca right there.
Yeah, it did. And on that backhand, it's a little bit tougher to pick up that speed once you're kind of in the barrel, especially, you know, being able to weave, get that board moving down the line. But you're talking about how fast it is. It is truly one of the fastest of the waves. But, you know, a bit of an error here, but we have 3 runs, you know, for each team in the qualifying round. So she'll get another chance, 2 more chances on this right to be able to pick up her score line here. This one's going to be a limited score, being that she didn't get a whole lot done on that outside section, and then very early in this wave she had the fall, so it'll be a low score, but she can come back in the next 2 attempts that she has.
And Pete, you and I have both surfed this wave. We know full well the power that this wave has, first and foremost, but then the speed right there. Any little thing that clips you, it's going to take you out. Strider Wasilewski is in the lineup now. What's happening, Strider?
Well, I made it up here onto the beach, and you know what? Just watching the replay off these big screens, you can really see what happens on these waves. The transition, the way the wave goes from the slopey face down into the ball, you can really see what's happening, and the wave really gutters out. And when it happens, the transition really gets a lot different. It gets a lot more square, and that rail has to set. And if it doesn't, you catch the outside rail, and that goes underwater. And that's what happens to Bianca. She's gonna have to reset, headspace, get back in it for her next round.
Thank you, Strider. I mean, it really is a surreal moment to see Strider Wasilewski standing on the quote-unquote beach right there as that wave passed him by. There's Bianca. And I think what's incredible about this technology, about this wave, is that you will be able to correct mistakes as you go because you know exactly what the next wave is going to be like. There are subtle differences between waves, but we've seen it already in the practice runs. You know, advice being handed out and then the corrections being made. The next wave is just that much better. I think that's what's going to happen here with Bianca.
Well, that's exactly what should happen. You know, you've got a team aspect here. You're all working together. You can always give good pointers. There's little tips that can be, you know, we saw Jeremy Flores, what you were talking about with Joanne Defay yesterday, doing some tube techniques, and sure enough, it just went and applied it out in the water, and it was great success. Joanne got one of the best barrels that we had seen her get.
Well, here we go, team scoreboard for the world team. Bianca getting that 7-6, so that's a hefty score. And then you look at Perez, an 8-8 and a 7-5. Jordy Smith backs it up with a 7-2-7, and the biggest score of the day so far, a 9.07. Jordy giving the judges and the fans exactly what they want to see. That massive alley-oop had to be weighing heavy on that 9.07.
You've got, again, the 5 teams here competing in this qualifying round. To make it into Sunday, you got to finish in that top 3. You look at Brazil's score there. The pace has been set, 63.59. That's what the world team needs to be able to accumulate to stay ahead of Brazil. But again, you've got 3 runs to keep adding points to that total.
Yeah, I would think, and I know it's early here in the WSL Founders Cup, but I'm thinking that score up in the 70 range would possibly be the benchmark that you would want to try to hit. Of course, if you're dropping 80s in this first portion of this event, you're definitely going to be making that final, I would say. But of course, we have yet to see Australia, Europe, and Team USA, all, 3 of those teams surfing superpowers. But Bianca, she did a great job. I mean, if you're dropping something in that 7 range, you're doing well for your team. Let's see if Paige Harrop can do just that. Paige from New Zealand, representing Team World here. Quick start. Paige is well adept to surfing fast left. There's a wave in New Zealand called Raglan that is a lot like the WSL Surf Ranch in its length and its speed. So Paige looking very at home. Nice snap there for Paige. Deep bottom turn right up in the lip again. Just clean power surfing from Paige. Mixing up her maneuvers. And here's where you start to hold your breath as Paige stalls for the 2. And she's deep, completely disappeared, comes out clean, straight up in the lip. A big snap for Paige Harrop to finish. Solid surfing from our New Zealander.
Really, really cool, and again, got to be able to see a lot of these surfers warm up, and Paige had one of the best barrels that I saw on the left on her forehand. Got really deep on that middle section. Again, she gets the job done, riding from the very top all the way to the bottom with no mistakes. She's going to get herself a good number here for this left. Now she can get a little bit more, a little bit more risk involved in her next ride. But again, look at the rhythm she carries, and so quick. Quick out of transition. She must be so excited to be able to compete here. As the world team, her ability on the championship tour has lifted. She's had her chance and had to fight off the qualifying series, and made her way back to the championship tour and is not disappointed whatsoever. Again, look at the rhythm. Just so quick. Got a lot of maneuvers done on the outside section, but sets this barrel up just perfectly. The stall, and then the arm drag, and really deep. Again, almost nose completely disappearing. We're looking into the barrel there. And she comes out, no problem, and gets the solid maneuver at the very end. That last point when the judges get to see.
When you see these surfers wind up for the 2, it's so cool every single time. That will never get old. Paige Harrop doing it right for a world team. We'll see what Paige can do on her next wave. It will be a right. So much surfing to come. Stay tuned. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup. Welcome back, surf fans, to the WSL Founders Cup presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. This is your Quicksilver Big Air. Rules and regulations, and basically the judges want to see the biggest air of the day.
It's
right?
pretty simple, I would think, you know, and right now Jordy leading that one with the 9.07. Yeah, it was good to see. I mean, the strategy, usually we were talking about strategy, what you would do. You would generally want to take it easy on your first run. Not here, he went for it.
Not Jordy. Goes Paige Harrop from New Zealand on her backhand, surfing for World Team. She started off strong with a 7.53, and her backhand is lethal. We'll see if Paige can lock into this tube section. She does. She, the front arm right there guiding her through this tube. There she gets completely covered up. One of the longer tube rides we'd seen of the morning. Now Paige is going to unleash on this crucial midsection. This wave going so fast down the line as Paige. She's keeping it under the lip, putting a bunch of maneuvers in down the line. Now she's even deeper on the second tube section. Paige Harrop, back-to-back extended tube rides. Solid finish. And I've known Paige for her just gouging, powerful front hand surfing, but I got to hand it to her right there. That wave on her backhand with the double tube ride, but 6 turns down the line. That's going to be another big score.
Great technique, really, on the backhand. You know, she had to slow down. She was able to drag her rear in the section, keeping her arm in front of her, which is always that leading arm is very helpful to guide you through those barrels. And then how deep did she get on that end barrel, you know, and that can be really difficult. We've seen a lot of surfers get too deep, and she was able to stay deep and get out of it. See, again, look at the technique. She drags her bum to slow her down, and she holds it. You got that arm forward, the T-Mobile tube time. You see the count there? About 10 seconds. Anytime you get a 10-second barrel, it's pretty good.
And, it is so wild. And multiple 10-second barrels on one wave.
It's so good. And, of course, Captain loving it. And Michelle Perez, so you got to excited. This is the team part of it that we get to see and get to experience.
Those barrels got me excited. So did Jordy Smith. Let's go to Kaipo Guerrero on the beach.
Yeah, thanks. Bianca, talk to us about the anticipation. All eyes on you. You know that wave's coming up. What's it like?
It's like nothing we've had before. I can't really put words to it, but it's like you can't blame anything else. You can't blame the tide, the size of the wave, nothing. It's just perfect all the way down. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, but yeah, it's nothing. It's a small price to pay for the opportunity we have.
Well, it looks like Team World is on fire, guys. What do you think?
We agree. Team World right now, I mean, you would have to, again, consider this team the underdog team on paper. What they've done so far has kind of proved all the critics wrong. Team World has come out firing.
And I think that one of the best things about it is that they're having a good time. They're embracing the opportunity and embracing each other. They're all down there on the dock, you know, as we see Team Australia making their way down here. Whoa, look at bookend with some cowboy hats.
That is an intimidating looking team right there. We've got multiple mustaches, cowboy hats, and of course, a lot of world titles on that team.
Yes, that is so true. And, you know, 4 world champions of the 5. And they look like they have fun. And that's what it's about. I mean, if you're going to go out here and you're going to enjoy this, have a good time while you're doing it.
Well, you see the fun and excitement on the beach right there. But out in the lineup, Kanoa Igarashi representing Japan, surfing for the world team here. So they've got not too much of a margin to make up here. They're sitting on 58.20 points. Brazil in the lead right now with 63.59. Igarashi, I mean, we've seen him surfing here at the WSL Surf Ranch. We know what he's capable of. Of course, he's got all the airs in his arsenal, and we're hoping he can, you know, maybe look to what Jordy Smith did there and just, you know, it sounds cliche to say check off all the boxes, but it's really what we want to see. Well, some power surfing, a barrel, and then one big air maneuver at the end of the wave.
So the judging criteria does not change from event to event to event, but the elements within it, you know, that are being accentuated are. And that's where you start to see the judges. What do they really want to see? Well, innovation and progression scores highly.
Kanoa Igarashi, our first looks. This surfer representing Japan here for World Team, the WSL Founders Cup. First couple of setup maneuvers going down. Now he goes up in the lip and goes down.
That's the risk.
Yeah, that was the earliest fall we've seen.
The risk of going big in the beginning. But again, if you pull those moves off on those outside sections, you're going to see the scores elevate. Jordy Smith, an example of that. Obviously, he had the air on that, but you know, there was some critical surfing done on the outside. And if you fall, it's okay. He's got 2 more chances on the left.
Well, that's, you know, you think about building your scores up. So here you see what happened with Kanoa Igarashi.
Again, he pushes it the back foot completely off the board. He brings it back on. That was the first snap that he pulls off. But again, he tries to do a very similar maneuver again, and then this time catches the nose. Straight up, you see right when he goes into the maneuver, he tries to push the fins. The nose digs. And once that happens, you're down and out. And I'll tell you how frustrating when you get your opportunity and you have a fall in this wave. It hurts more than anything.
It is, you know, it's a precious resource.
It
you
is.
Wave, what, every 3 minutes. And right there, Kanoa, you know, he's been in this situation a million times before. He is a clutch performer. Let's take a look at the Jeep team leaderboard. As Bianca Bedendorf with that 7.6. That most likely will be a keeper score for Bianca. Perez with an 8.8 and a 7.5. He's got plenty of room to build there. Jordy Smith with a 7.27 and a 9.07. So Jordy most likely will be looking to improve on his left, concentrating on getting that big score on his left. Paige Harrop, look at that, 7.53 and a 7.93, a 15.46 total. That is a solid start for Paige Harrop.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because now she can go out and actually have fun and get a little bit more high risk on both her left and her right.
Let's go down to Kaipo Guerrero, poolside.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I had to pull Paige away from Team World over here just because there's camaraderie. Talk to us about the camaraderie in this team event.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the first time we've been in the team for a while, and it's pretty different to the usual contest. So I think we're all enjoying it. We're just supporting each other rather than being against each other, and it's just great vibes all around.
Congratulations. Great opening run, Paige Harrop.
Agreed. Yeah, that total is going to do well for Paige. As you see, the pool is getting calm. Expect big things from Kanoa Igarashi on his next wave. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Chris Cote here with Pete Mel, witnessing history in the making. Kanoa Igarashi trying to regather from an early mistake on his previous wave. Now he's on his forehand. Deep bottom turn straight up in the lip. A perfect approach for that section as he stalls into the barrel. Nicely done, well timed. He'll try to get just a little bit more tube time here, and he does. Nice and deep, double arm drag, staying in there. Now making the exit. Here's where the sparks will fly as Kanoa gets down the line, blasting that tail out. That's what fans want to see. 2 big turns for Kanoa. So you're gonna opt for that second quick tube ride. He'll come out, 1 more section here to work with. Goes to the air. Can he come down with it? He does. Igarashi fully redeeming himself from that first error.
So true. You know, and he did hit all the elements there. He had that
I love that
timer
way.
Going strong. A great technique there. You saw how he actually straightened off before he got back into the second section of the barrel, and then he actually used the innovation and progression at the end, getting the aerial done. Gotta love it. We'll take a look at the replay here. Exciting stuff from Kanoa, of course, having that fall, being frustrated, and turning it all around on this right-hander. He has been very solid going on the rights, but look at this as he tucks in and watch it straighten it out a little bit. That's a stalling technique to get himself back in and deep. And then at this point, he's got both hands dragging as long as putting the fingernails all the way in and releases to get out. And this last inside section, always another barrel section. You got to be quick and time it perfectly. He does that as he gets 3 turns done before he sets it up. Now he eyes it. Again, just that quick little stall, but rides out of it, knowing that he has one more section, up and above the lip, riding backwards and pulling it off. That's going to be a good number.
Well, that was just really cool looking. I mean, to come out of a tube straight into an air like that, it's just a great combination. And, you know, that's what this wave was made for.
It's so true.
Combinations like that, coming out of the tube straight in the air. You know, we loved that approach from Kanoa Igarashi, and I think the judges will as well. And I think the fans along the rail got a really cool vision right there of Kanoa just screaming out of that tube straight up in the air. And that's the look you'll see on everybody's face after they get a wave here at WSL Surf Ranch. It is truly, you know, a joyous feeling. When you first see this wave, it's that kind of shock value. You go, oh my gosh, this place is massive. Then you see a wave, it doubles, and then when you actually get to ride one, there's really nothing like it.
There really isn't, you know, and again, the length. I mean, you don't get to ride waves this long in the ocean. It just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, you think your average wave in the ocean, maybe 15 seconds on a good day?
Yeah, I mean, 15 seconds is a long ride.
Let's take a look now at World Team. This is your Michelob Ultra Pure Gold recap. We started with the power act of Michel Perez.
And he did not disappoint, putting up an 8.8 and also a 7.5. I mean, if you're going to look at numbers and pull it off, I mean, in Jordy, going even bigger, the first 9 of the event so far. Kanoa, his best wave, another good number for him.
Well, the World Team has now taken over the lead, 69.20 total. So World Team has come to do damage, and they've done just that in their first go here. The WSL Founders Cup of Surfing. Historic first ever team event here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Wow, and Team Australia, you look at this team on paper, you look at them in person, they are an intimidating force to be reckoned with. Tyler Wright has taken to this system pretty easily. You know, her powerful surfing, her flow, everything just tailor-made to take this wave apart.
It's so true. And, you know, you look at that team, they all were there on the dock together doing the team photo. And now the anticipation as she is going to paddle into her first left.
And here is our first look at Tyler Wright. She is a 2-time world champion. 8 years on tour. She's had, you know, quite a bit of experience here at the WSL Surf Ranch as well. She cranks it off the bottom, gets a little hung up on that first turn. And here's where this wave starts to steepen up, growing down the line. Tyler again, bobbling that second turn. Here we go. Now that's the Tyler Wright that we're used to seeing. Big, beautiful backside snap, kicking that back tail, throwing tons of spray into the air. Tyler now setting things up for this inside section. We see the wave starting to form up. This is that barrel section, and Tyler Wright just drags a little too hard.
Yeah,
she goes down.
You know, you want to get deep in the barrel because you know that's what's going to score the highest. So you want to slow yourself down, but sometimes that happens where you slow yourself too quickly and actually get sucked up and over the falls.
Yeah, it looked like what happened there was kind of just an extended series of setup turns for Tyler. She had a couple big turns right in the middle, but
you take a look here again where she's the outside sections here. She did have a couple bobbles, you know, but she did start to get, there's one of them. You know, this is an EPS surfboard, so she's riding a lot of epoxies I see under a lot of the surfers' feet here. You know, it gives a little extra zest, give you that little extra energy as you watch. Now the inside section here, warming up, feeling kind of the rhythm.
It almost looks like she was battling momentum down the line. She's built it, then it kind of got taken away from her, and then, of course, you see the fall there. And I think that was kind of just what had happened as she was setting her way up down the line, just a little out of sorts. But again, she has 2 more opportunities on the left. And here's your Jeep team leaderboard. Team Brazil with 63.59. World Team in the lead with 69.20. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more action. Team Australia in the lineup. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup. Stay tuned. Team Australia has entered the WSL Surf Ranch. Tyler Wright, Stephanie Gilmore, Joel Parkinson, Matt Wilkinson, and Mick Fanning. 12 world titles with this fivesome. The two of them belong to Tyler Wright. She is in the lineup now. And here we go, Tyler Wright. A little bit of a botched attempt on her first wave, but we know Tyler's forehand is absolutely lethal. She cranks into this first opening snap, staying right there in the sweet spot. The big turn for Tyler, jamming the tail. There's that stall, projecting down the line. Picture perfect tube ride for Tyler Wright. Just hanging in the pocket. There she goes behind the curtain. Again, this wave draining out. Now Tyler back on the open face. Big snap right under the lip, perfectly placed. Straight off the bottom, beautiful bottom turn snap combination. Tyler looking for that second barrel. Equally as deep as the first. One more chance, Tyler goes vertical on her forehand. Ooh, and fits in the second maneuver on that end section. The first time we've seen that done on the day. Tyler's got to be a lot more happy about that wave than her previous wave.
That's right. Anytime you finish all the way to the inside, it's going to be a good wave. Of course, you're going to be breathing hard. Your legs are going to be burning, and you're going to have a smile, grin, ear to ear. You know, we love what Tyler Wright was able to do there because the barrel, again, having that T-modal 2 time, that's a solid one. Getting the 2 maneuvers done after the barrel section at the very end. You know, each wave has those little subtle differences, and that one there gave her 2 sections right at the end.
Well, the world team has just sent the new benchmark, 69.20. Let's go to Kaipo Guerrero with Kano Igarashi.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I was chatting with Kano, and since he's been here at the Surf Ranch, he's broken 4 boards. Talk to us a little bit about the power of this wave.
Yeah, you know, I think people don't realize that this is a really, it's a fast wave and it's got a punch to it. And you know, being here 2 days surfing all day, I started getting, you know, like more comfortable and trying to hit the lip harder and started popping boards. But, you know, the wave's strong and it's just, it's exciting, exhilarating, and feels good to be in the competition.
There you go. Team World on the lead, Chris.
Yeah, that is the statement there, breaking 4 boards in multiple sessions here. You know, again, you can't, when you see this wave, you know, visually it is so perfect, it's hard to keep your eyes out of that mesmerizing tube. But,
so
you know, look at the lip. Look at when the lip's penetrating the water, there's a lot of force happening there. I mean, the engineers behind this wave they've created a modern marvel of technology.
Yeah, as we watch the replay here, of course, Tyler Wright, again, the technique, you see that back arm planted into the water, just slowing and sloughing the speed so you can hold yourself in that barrel. And then she comes out, and this is where her display of power takes place. I mean, she is so strong on that forehand, especially a maneuver like that. And you can understand, too, that the criticalness of her turns is getting that board all the way around where it actually points back towards the crowd. And she does that impeccably, you know, and again, getting the 2 maneuvers done after that final section. So she's going to get a good number here.
Yeah, solid score comes through for Tyler Wright at 9.10. So, of course, you know, nothing lost on our judges. These are WSL judges, the same judges you'll see at Jeffreys Bay, you know, at all the breaks around the world. So these guys know their business, of course, and they saw that, you know, just being able, if you get out on the open face and you actually turn and your nose is pointing at the whitewater, that's very critical on this wave, because if you get touched by the whitewater here, more often than not, you're going down. This wave is that fast that it will knock you right off your feet.
So
and,
within that criteria, you know, the points of difference are, you know, the combination of major maneuvers in the most critical section with the most variety. And I feel like this wave is so long that you're going to get so many opportunities going into the face and doing different turns. You've got to mix it up. You got to showcase variety. I believe that that's a really good element to be able to bring here. Also, the technique in entering the barrel and the ability to stay in the barrel as long as possible, because that transition out of a new maneuver into the barrel can be sometimes a little bit awkward. And if you can do it seamless, then that's what we're going to see those bigger numbers get displayed.
Well, general consensus tells us, everyone is saying, Stephanie Gilmore is the best tube rider ever at the WSL Surf Ranch. Of course, no slouch when it comes to maneuvers on the open face. As Stephanie starting to unwind here. Gilmore adding to the world title number for Team Australia. And of course, you think of flow when you think of Stephanie Gilmore surfing, the speed, power, flow element coming into play here, but I think the judge is really looking heavily at the flow element. Stephanie always shows her expertise there. So on her backhand, she's had a series of about 6 turns. Now she's setting things up here for this inside tube section. Wave starts to wind up. Stephanie Gilmore just under the lip. And of course, perfectly done. I don't think Stephanie's ever messed up a barrel here. She has to have one of the best percentages when it comes to completing the tube here at the WSL Surf Ranch.
An incredible rhythm on the outside section. I mean, just straight top to bottom the entire time. She had some release, so there's some risk involved in that as well. She's going to like this. A completed left from start to finish, right out of the gates on run 1. You're getting 3 runs in this qualifying round. So you want to put one in the books right out of the gate. So then you can get a lot more relaxed. As you watch the rhythm here, look at how she's able to glide over the top of it, straight into the bottom turn, straight to the top. That's so nice to see. That's that combination of major maneuvers that she has. And then the barrel skills on the inside. Again, dragging the arm, slowing down, and getting it completely barreled. And coming out clean. She had her hair dry until about that point.
It is always such a joy to watch Stephanie Gilmore surf at the WSL Surf Ranch, I'll tell you. Yeah, the fans are calling that a 10, and it's going to be a big score. Let's go down to Rosie Hodge on the beach.
Up the run for Team Australia, saw some deep breaths going down on the boat ramp. How's that pressure feeling?
It feels good. It's awesome to be here and a part of the team. I think that team environment is really special right now, and even just then watching Steph surf that left, you know, I'm so absorbed by it. We're all so absorbed by it. So it's an incredible feeling right now.
You guys are glowing. Keep up the great work, Tyler. Back up to you, Chris.
Thank you, Rosie. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Stephanie Gilmore. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Welcome, surf fans of the world, to the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Team Australia has entered the building, and so far, so good. Tyler Wright dropping a 9.10 on her first right. Stephanie Gilmore just dropped an 8.63, and she's at it again. Stephanie Gilmore, one of the smoothest surfers on the planet. You see just pure flow down the line as she's eyeing this first section. Almost getting caught behind there. Here's the setup. A beautiful approach from Stephanie Gilmore. She crouches into the tube. And there's that big smile beaming out of the pocket. Stephanie Gilmore so deep. Can she make it out? And the deepest tube ride of the day, of course, goes to Stephanie Gilmore. Beautiful carving turn. Back onto the open face. Steph Gilmore jamming that tail. Eyeing that inside tube section. Again, so deep, too deep. Stephanie Gilmore goes down on the second tube section, but a lot of damage had been done on that wave. Some beautiful turns, one of the longest tubes we've seen of the day.
Well,
you can't wipe the smile off her face even after a wipeout like that.
That's so true. Happy Gilmore, you know, and she has that ability to really slow down and sit there at the back of the barrel. She has such a great read. Again, she sets this wave up knowing that that's what she wanted to do. She has that great technique, knowing that that barrel time, that T-Mobile timer is so important. And she did that. You know, she sets it up finally, and this is where she gets into it. But watch the technique. See the handbrake just pulled, slowing her down. As you count that T-Mobile seconds off, look at there's 8, 9,
Is it going to be the longest
10,
of the day?
11.
It's right there.
12, 13 seconds.
So, Pete, a lot of people ask me, you see Stephanie Gilmore fall here on this inside section. What happens when you fall here at the WSL Surf Ranch?
Well, you get kind of mopped up. You get
what's on the bottom?
Well,
you hit the bottom?
You can hit the bottom. There's a liner, and there's also some concrete. So you got to make sure that you don't hit it too hard. I mean, you learn techniques of falling on waves, and you apply the same here, and it's generally the same thing.
But you get rolled just like in the ocean.
Exactly, exactly.
So Stephanie Gilmore electrifying the WSL Surf Ranch. And I think there's a reason that, you know, Kelly Slater tapped Stephanie Gilmore to be one of the first surfers to ride this wave. It was because of surfing like that. Joel Parkinson will be up next.
Well, think about this team right here with Joel, Stephanie, and Mick Fanning all growing up on the Gold Coast, you know, and those waves there are very similar. You know, you've got Greenmount and Snapper Rocks, Kira, all with these very cylindrical barrel type of waves. So you learn a technique that works, and it can be applied here.
But when you see Joel Parkinson and Mick Fanning especially pulling into the barrel section here, it's really hard not to think of Snapper Rocks and some of the tube rides we've seen these guys get in the past. And of course, their styles suit this wave perfectly. And, you know, you kind of think of Joel Parkinson and Stephanie Gilmore in that same breath of two of the smoothest, most stylish surfers to ever do it.
And that's your environment that you grow up surfing in. You know, you obviously see that with Mick Fanning as well. I mean, and they're so comfortable in these long waves, long, perfect waves.
Yeah, and you look at the team here, Tyler Wright, Stephanie Gilmore, Joel Parkinson, Matt Wilkinson, Mick Fanning. On paper, a lot of people have been saying, well, you know, you're not going to look to Team Australia for the big airs. But I'm telling you, Matt Wilkinson has got a deep arsenal of tricks.
He sure does.
And he's got a rodeo flip on him. Hopefully we'll see him unleash that here at the WSL Surf Ranch.
And Mick and Parko are not too shabby in the air as well.
I think it'll be interesting. Of course, you have your team, and they're all together. There's some competitiveness within the team, of course.
Oh, no,
you want to get the best score on your team.
Hey, when you're surfing with your friends and your peer group, there is totally full competitive. Trying to get some words from them. Then all of a sudden they went silent on us.
All right, so Parko here. Now here's the element of when you wait and you see the wave coming at you for a full 8 seconds, that's a lot of time to get nervous. But Parkinson, he's not a nervous character as you see him stroking this wave perfectly. You know, this wave is just like catching a wave in the ocean. A lot of power. Parkinson matches that power with the fluid style. And
Ooh, tough.
Joel Parkinson now. I talked about nerves, and they may have just got the better of him there. Just winding up a little too hard, going a little too behind that white water, and it caught him.
Yeah, and again, those subtle differences in the wave. Sometimes this wave will run a little quicker, and it doesn't seem like it's going to. That was the one thing that I felt when I was surfing this wave. It is so perfect that you don't see it coming. It's so perfect. You're just like, oh, it's got to be there every time for me. But sometimes it runs a little bit quicker, and that felt like that's what happened to him right there. He didn't seem like there was any true errors. Let's take a look at the replay here. Again, he goes up and over. He's got such a graceful floater. You know, he glides up and over. Didn't seem like there was much going up. There's the little jig, the heel edge as he bottom turns. That's enough to slow him down. And at that point, once you have that whitewater kind of pushing you, it pushes you out of the face. It doesn't push you in. Sometimes you'll have waves that'll push you in towards the wedge. Not this one. It takes you away from it. So it's very difficult to get back to that open face once you're in the whitewash.
And in a standard session here, WSL Surf Ranch, if you see somebody just dig a rail a little bit and you're next in line, that's when your smile gets a little bit bigger, because it is nearly impossible once you get hit by that whitewater. It's not a wave that you can kind of pump and get around that section, because it is going so fast. When you see a surfer like Joel Parkinson, that level, you know, one of the best to ever do it, get caught behind a section like that, you know that there's a lot of difficulty in riding this wave when it comes to getting back on the open face once you've made a little bit of a mistake, like we saw right there.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, and we'll see what he can do on this forehand attempt here. Again, Joel riding EPS, which means he's riding the epoxy. That's the resin, and then also a styrofoam core, and a little more lively on this fresh water.
Most of these surfers riding boards, they would be riding at lower trestles?
The designs would be very similar. I think that you'll see that there'd just be a bit of difference in the materials. Again, riding that styrofoam core in the fresh water, that little extra buoyancy, and that little extra life, you know, it gives you a little, you know, a little extra flair. And so you see a lot of these surfers, you know, the energy that is transferred through styrofoam is much quicker than polystyrene, you know, which is mostly what you see mostly surfers riding.
Here's your Jeep team leaderboard. Tyler Wright sitting on that big score at 9.10. Steph Gilmore with an 8.63 and an 8.23. Parkinson with a 3.5 on his first wave. Most likely won't be a keeper. So Stephanie Gilmore with a massive score. She's on the beach right now with Rosie Hodge.
Team captain for Australia, Steph. I noticed when we're on the boat ramp, the camaraderie between your fellow countrymen is incredible. Just tell me a little about Team Team Australia, and also just the camaraderie between you guys.
Yeah, it's such a special group. I mean, Joel and Mick are best friends, and then Tyler and I, we've known each other for so long. We feel like, you know, we're rivals, but we kind of we're such good friends as well. And Maddie Wilco is like the entertainer. So it's a really good group, and, you know, even if you fall off, you don't feel like you're going to get yelled at or anything. It's just a really good vibe. So, yeah, really proud to represent Australia.
Keep up the great work, Steph.
Well, she says that now, that you don't get yelled at if you fall off, but if you fall off 3 times.
You see these guys yelling at him?
Yeah, and you don't bank that big score. I mean, you have 3 opportunities on each right and 3 opportunities on each left. So you got to make at least one of them count. Here goes Joel Parkinson. And here's the setup. You see no wasted movement from Parkinson. Just silky smooth. As again, right there, I mean, he's toying with disaster right here, trying to squeak into this tube early. Now Parkinson, now there's where you'll see shades of the super bank as Parko right in the zone. Quick, fast tube ride. Now Parkinson gets back on the open face, straight up into the lip. And just powerful, smooth, beautiful surfing from Joel Parkinson. We'll see what he's got now down to the back half of this wave. He is a tube hound, straight back into the barrel, but goes down. So Parkinson, a beautiful ride up until that second barrel, which has claimed a few surfers on previous efforts. But you gotta like what Joel did at the beginning of that wave, probably entering the tube earlier than anybody.
That's exactly it. And I think that technique there was very risky, especially the way that he did it, because at that point, if he had made one little error, that wave would have run off really quickly without him. But instead, he was in the pocket as soon as it started the barrel. So that gave him that extra time in that tube.
Well, risky business, as we've seen in the past, oftentimes pays off in spades. Our judges, they want to be wowed. And I think Joel did that at the beginning of this wave.
Yeah, and that's true. Again, so you watch this wave grow as it goes down the line. It actually picks up momentum. And this is where he is a little bit behind, and he actually just kind of comes in through the back door. And somehow, as the lip's hitting in the head, he finds it right into the crease. And he was very early into that barrel. Comes out, you see the stalling technique, again, pointing the board away from the wave to slow it down. And then he's back in the pocket again, but then this into the rhythm, the smooth, silky, different style maneuvers that he's doing here. He's in the lip, he's doing the cutbacks. Again, showcasing the variety, which is part of that judging criteria. You gotta hit that element.
You know, I think one thing that the WSL Surf Ranch is going to provide for not only the pros, but also for surf fans, the ultimate classroom. You know, just by watching the technique that we're seeing right in front of our eyes here, you know, that Parkinson tube ride, you watch that, you decode on what he's doing, you will be a better tube rider. That's what this technology is going to do. It's going to make surfers better through repetition.
So
You're doing
true.
it over and over and over again. You learn how to ride the tube here, then you take your act to the Mentawais, you'll be getting twice as deep.
That's so true. Yeah, head to Bali and go and or head to the Gold Coast.
Well, you see 5,000 surf fans lined up around the WSL Surf Ranch. And here's one of the superstars of our sport, Matt Wilkinson, fully focused.
You see there, he
as we talk about him.
Oh, well, he's visualizing. You
I
see that
love
he
it.
close his eyes and you start to visualize. And that's the thing you can do here, is that you can understand what you want to do on each and every ride and then go out and do it.
Well, we talk about waves like Pipeline, you know, Snapper Rocks. These are arena-style waves. Now, this is the real arena. I mean, this is a true coliseum. There you see we have tents lining that front portion of the wave, and then as you get back, you see bleachers. You know, all the fans lining that wall. We've got a big festival atmosphere here.
No, just getting started.
You saw that Joel was
Just getting
mentioning-
started.
Yeah, and Joel even mentioned a little shaky, you know, and this atmosphere is there's no other like it.
Yeah.
It's incredible that, well, you have to be able to kind of block everything. And I challenge the fans to get as loud as you possibly can out there, because I know they can hear it.
I would love to see a wave go down that wall. Let's get a wave
Yeah,
going
you guys
down
enjoy
the
it out
wall.
there.
And this is a true festival atmosphere. We've got concerts going down. Lily Miola played last night with Kelly Slater and Carissa Moore. It was an incredible concert to open up this weekend. But we're here for, you know, mainly this, to watch futuristic surfing go down here at the WSL Surf Ranch. The newest wave on the planet, you'd have to say. There's Matt Wilkinson now. The power approach. 2 big turns to start us off. Setting it up through this early portion of the wave. Big foam climb to set up. Here's where we'll see the barrel start to form up. Big layback snap. Wilkinson now blowing the tail. So you see the subtle difference between this wave and the previous left. This one's spinning down the line. Nice coping section there for Wilco to tee off on. Beautiful tail sliding maneuver there for Wilco. Now he finds the tube on that inside section. Perfectly done. Big jam.
Yeah,
That's just exactly what you want to do on your first wave here.
He packed the maneuvers in. There was a ton. There was slashes and snaps and floaters and
a goat boat right at the end. A bonus.
And the barrel to finish. Again, you got the breeze coming from the northwest, which makes the lefts have that little tapering effect. And of course, it has been designed for that reason, that the lefts can be a bit more performance orientated. You know, you don't have that middle section that has the barrel. It's about tagging the lip and packing the maneuvers in. That's exactly what Wilco has done here. Is take a look again. Beginning of this wave, he is always driving his maneuvers down the line. He wants to keep it together so that he's always out in front and doesn't get caught behind, like we saw Joel unfortunately happen to him. But again, look, you can start counting maneuvers here. That's not part of the criteria, but you know what? Major maneuvers and the combination of them are, and he has done that on this wave.
Now, as good as he is on his forehand, I think his backhand is even better.
Yeah, it's so true.
I think that is a huge reason why Matt Wilkinson got tagged to be on this Team Australia. You know, think of all the amazing surfers from Australia they could have picked. I think Wilco's backhand was the big deciding factor for team captain Stephanie Gilmore.
Hey, and this wave was a amazing wave from start to finish. There was no downtime, and I think this is going to be a great number for him. And again, because it is such a long wave that if you can just string the maneuvers back to back to back, the judges have to give you big numbers. I mean, again, he watch how he does the snap, and then it was able to slide into the barrel so easily. This is midway through the ride.
You know, and I think he did just enough as well, because you can over surf it. You can spaz down the line and just try everything you've got, but he did well right there to do just enough. And as we prepare for Matt Wilkinson's next wave, let's go down to Rosie Hodge with an update.
That's right. We've got veteran competitor Joel Parkinson. This is a different arena. How does it change from what you're used to?
Well, it was really hard to stay calm. I was calm until my toe hit the water, and I was just I was just so shaking and nervous. I couldn't. I was like, Joel, what's got into you? Like, slow down. It's just chill. Like, it's quite a nerve-wracking environment. I've been here a couple of times and there's been never anyone here, and it's quite cruisy. But today, with a few thousand people watching, and you can hear everyone screaming from the side of the pool, and it's nerve-wracking.
How are you going to quieten that noise for the coming rounds?
I don't know. I think I just got it out of the way then. Now, when I go back in the water, I think I'll feel a little more at ease, and I'll probably have the coffee shakes out of me, and I'll be right to go.
Great surfing, Parker. Well, we'll see you improve in the next rounds. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie. Of course, this qualifying round here. 3 of these 5 teams will make their way into the finals, which will go down tomorrow. Who will be the winner of the first ever WSL Founders Cup of Surfing? So far, the world team with that 69.20. They're in the lead. We'll see what Matt Wilkinson can do here. His first wave comes through an 8.37. We know what Wilco is capable on his backhand. Talked to him yesterday, potentially looking for that rodeo flip section. We would love to see that kind of performance from Wilco. So far, laying back, free fall drop straight into the tube, grabbing his rail, dragging his arms so deep, too deep. The surf fans along the rail were the first to witness Matt Wilkinson just drag a little too hard and go down.
That's that frustration, but you know, I love the technique that he used to get into that barrel. There's almost a stalling bottom turn where he really lifts the nose, lifts the rail of his board to slough the speed, and then pulls in. Again, always pushing forward with your body. But then again, he was trying to slow down, and when you try to slow down, when you're moving out of the barrel, you can move too far back, and then you're gone. You're vanished. It's exactly what happened to him here. As you see the first maneuvers here, you know, setting up, warming up. You know, he has got that pendulum. You know, he can start swinging and pack the maneuvers in. There is the stalling technique as it comes into this steeper section right there. See that little stall? And then at that point, he was trying to hold the barrel and get as deep as he possibly could. Again, there's that point. And
that was a dynamic combination there. Snap, subtle airdrop straight into the tube. And that is really hard to do. And I think the judges are going to give him credit for that portion of the wave. He didn't come out of the barrel, but you know what he did there, that is one of the hardest things to do in surfing on your backhand. Snap, airdrop, tube, all in one flowing maneuver.
Yeah, and again, from our head judge, Pratamo Arendt, he is saying technique in entering the barrel and the ability to stay in as deep as possible for the longest amount of time.
Technique in entering the barrel.
Exactly.
I like that.
Right, and that's something that we've noticed here, that if you can do it, because it is so perfect that sometimes you don't see the barrel coming, and then all of a sudden it's there, and you're like, it's awkward. But if you can pull that seamless, the judges will take note of that and give you a good number.
I think another cool aspect of this is you can react to the errors that you've made. You can re-watch that and go, okay, well, that's the section right there. I need to do this. Listen to some banter on the boat dock.
Yep. But then what we don't want is to keep it in.
Of course, that's our commissioner, Kieran Perot, and of course, the super coach, Glenn Hall, is always there on the deck.
Mick Fanning is up next, 3-time world champion. He is retired from the championship tour, but he's definitely not retired from the WSL Surf Ranch. This opportunity only comes around once in a lifetime, and he knew I'm in. And of course, anytime the conversation about Australian surfing comes into play, Mick Fanning's the first one to raise his hand and say, I'll do it. What do you need me to do, Australia? I'm doing it.
It's going to be fun to watch him. You know, his warm-ups yesterday, he looked on point. Wilco does a good job there, putting some good numbers up for his team.
When I think about the kind of the technical aspects of this as far as scoring goes, right? You get that big score on one of your waves, and that's going to allow you to concentrate on going the other way, right? So if you drop that 8 on your right, okay, that's going to give you the luxury to get really crazy on your next right and potentially improve on that score, but also going to give you the ability to focus on your left. Okay, I've done my work on the right. Now I got to focus on the left and drop a big score over there.
So again, you know, each surfer scores a right and a left for their team, and they're allowed 3 runs. So they get 3 attempts at the right and 3 attempts at the left to put up a number.
Well, we just heard from Joel Parkinson about the nerves that come into play here. I mean, a cool character like Parko gets nervous. Anybody's getting nervous. So you know, you're watching right now, and Fanning has that look on his face that we've seen so many times in past years. He's 17 years on tour, He surfed 172 events, but never an event like this. So we'll see if he can remain calm as this wave comes down the line. Full speed. Here goes. Mick Fanning gliding into this wave, setting it up with a quick backside snap. Another big turn, building momentum down the line. A third snap for Fanning. Putting on a show for our fans in the back bleachers as spray flying. Now he gets around this crucial midsection of this wave. Starting to build up. Fanning goes vertical. Just a blistering series of backside hooks for Fanning. Here's that coping section through the mid portion of the wave. Gets the foam climb, gets around it. Bam, another big snap. Little free fall airdrop into the pocket. Fanning stalling for the tube. Tightly coiled into that barrel. I mean, what more could you have done on that wave than Fanning just did there?
Well, when you start the wave with his quickness like he did and finish it with the same amount of zest, you'd have to say his legs, they're not even burned. They're just getting warmed up. But a great attempt there. Exactly what he needed to do on his first left. Complete it, get it done, make sure there's no mistakes. I mean, he probably lost a little bit in the barrel at the very end. He didn't quite have as long as a tube we've seen on the left, but the outside section, great flow. I mean, he did everything he could to try and mix it up, get him some release out of the top. Again, throwing some snaps and trying to throw some spray. You see that coping section, he had the floater. Again, see how he pushes his toe edge down on that section, but look at where his eyes are. They're looking at the lip the entire time. Right there, this is where that barrel section, he did fit another maneuver in, but this is what probably made him, he missed the most critical part of that barrel and just tucks in for this part here. But you know what? He's finished. He's got that left in the books. Now it's to see what he can do on the right.
An incredible wave, so well surfed. The only thing I would have liked to see a little bit of variation on maneuvers. But I think the judges are going to love that wave from Mick Fanning, as he will be going right next. We'll be right back with the WSL Founders Cup as it rolls on. Team Australia, one more wave for Mick Fanning. Mick Fanning with a T-Mobile dialed moment. This is from the Future Classic, a prototype event at this prototype wave. And after we saw that event, everybody said, let's do this. And then we find ourselves now at the WSL Founders Cup, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Mick Fanning's first wave comes through, a 7.43, a solid score. And as it stands now, Team Australia with 59.92 points on the board. World team still in the lead, 69.20. We'll see what Mick Fanning, three-time world champion, can do on his forehand, feeling right at home. Of course, on a 45-second wave. He's one of the few surfers on the planet that grew up surfing 40-second waves. On the Gold Coast of Australia, there he is, locked into the tube. A thing of beauty, letting that front hand guide him through. He is a tube maestro. And he comes out full speed, straight up in the lip, jamming that layback snap. Comes around the section again, going vertical. Looks like he may be eyeing up this inside tube section. Close to stalling there. Gets around it, quick hop to get around the section. Under the hook, comes out, up into the air. An alley-oop for Fanning.
Look at, as fit as he is.
I was going to say, that's 45 seconds of surfing there. Finishes it with an alley-oop. Didn't get super high, but still a critical maneuver.
It's some innovation and progression. It's part of the criteria.
And mixing it up and mixing it up.
That scores highly. You know, again, you saw, I really like how he was able to transition into the barrel. You know, again, he's got such great technique, and being able to perfectly time it is difficult to do, and he did it just right.
You know what I think should be added to the judging criteria? Placement of turns. Because look where Mick places his turns. It's just perfection.
And again, see that? There was a stall. There's just a delayed bottom turn, which put him in perfect position. And then again, when he's in the barrel, just being able to read the speed of the wave perfectly.
Well, Steph still got him on the T-Mobile barrel time. Stephanie Gilmore has to be in the lead in that.
So you see he's got a shorter board under his, under his feet, a little wider, and it fits perfectly in the wave here. And this is that final section. And again, it's just so tough to be able to read when it's going to happen. You know, it looks so perfect the entire time. You feel like you just need to stall. But there's the alley-oop at the end. And again, 2 solid rides. He finished from the very beginning all the way to the end.
Let's go down to Rosie Hodge, who has Matt Wilkinson.
That's right, putting up some great scores on that left. Talk to me about clicking into form on your forehand on this wave.
Yeah, I had a few falls yesterday on the left, and then I woke up at about 3 o'clock this morning and was like, all right, I got to figure out this left. And I was laying there and I fell off on about 80 in my head, and then I finally finished one in my head, and I pretty much did the same thing. And so I paid homage with my little lay down at the end, and no, I'm stoked. The wave is so sick and it's so much fun. It's I just want to catch 100 waves out there. It's so good.
Team Oz is doing so well, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Rosie. That truly is a dream wave. Matt Wilkinson surfing it in his dreams, and it paid off there.
Well, you figure
a couple of big scores.
And if you're going to sit there at night and you're going to dream up your run, this is it. This is how you can do it, because it is pretty much similar as you watch the recap here.
So the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold recap. Tyler Wright starting us off for Team Australia.
Yeah, she had the 9.10 ride, and that's a huge number. You know, if you can get into the 9s, we only seen a couple of them. And so when you have those in your scoreline, you can build from there. Again, Wilco going to the coffin. Again, he looks like he's having a grand old time. So everyone picking up good numbers here. You'd expect Joel to do pretty well.
We'll be right back with more action. You're watching WSL Founders Cup, and as you saw right there, the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold recap. Pete, Team Australia right now.
So Joel could
climbed into second place with 67.92.
Yeah, and you know, that's going to help a lot. But he also, you look at Joel, has a lot of room to improve, and so you'd expect him to do well.
Federico Moraes will be coming up next for that stacked Team Europe. And I'll tell you, through the practice sessions, Team Europe has been looking incredible. Expect powerful surfing from Federico Moraes from Portugal. His backhand quick snap to set it up. I don't think anyone throws as much spray as Federico as he gets around this section. It's where things are crucial right there. You might think a foam climb is a kind of a benign maneuver, but I'll tell you, at the WSL Surf Ranch, to get around that section utilizing that foam climb, that is technical, critical surfing. Federico now onto that open face. This is where he's deadly on his backhand. Quick snap, building speed and momentum down the line. He's a veritable force in any kind of waves. And here he goes, stalling deep into the tube. Again, the technique, using that arm to guide him out of the tube. Nicely done, just...
Well, I don't know.
These guys all, you know, they have internal judges there, but maybe a little bit high from Jeremy Flores. But I agree with Jeremy there. That was a just really nicely executed wave. Did just enough. Big turns. Got the tube at the end. So that's a great, you know, you would say starter kit.
Yeah, it's a perfect
right? You
nerve settler.
A 7-ish to start it off.
Well, if you, again, we've talked to all the competitors and how nerve-wracking it is when you start your very first wave. And he looked confident on this wave. There was no issues at all, being able to climb that whitewater section, showing great rhythm. Again, trying to showcase some variety, you know, getting excited into the lip, sometimes throwing his fins a little bit, you know, zapping all of those turns, getting the, you know, the quickness in and out of the maneuvers. So this is a great start for Federico. Again, great flow. And then the barrel at the end, that technique, again, he just stalled perfectly. There it is, sets it up. The arm and he was deep, away from view. Judges will like that. Maximize that last section. Really, you see mostly the barrels are going to happen on the left are the very inside section. We're not going to see much on the outside.
But one thing that surf fans and judges alike love, big spray. And Federico did just that on his last wave. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing. Stay tuned, more action to come.
You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. It's time for a great display of professional surfing. Frederico Moraes just took down a 717. The team we're bragging about at the moment is Team World because they're still on top of the standings with a 69.2 combined total. That's the benchmark which Frederico's shooting for Team Europe. Watching this down the line, clean snap off the lip. Moraes jams it off the lip again. Big blast off the roof, nice and hollow. Moraes digs into the tube, completely gone on the foam ball. And unfortunately, Moraes is not going to get to taste the exit of that tube. Joe Turpel alongside former world champ Martin Potter back in the booth. What an exciting day of action. Frederico with a jump start, Potts, on the back end. Unfortunately, going down on the right.
Yeah, Frederico looking really sharp, Joe. Unfortunate mistake there on the right-hander, but it is round one. They've got multiple opportunities. So this is going to be a throwaway for Frederico.
Let's catch up with Mick Fanning and Rosie Hodge.
You sure you got Rip Curl Petty Cash?
Don't take them to come through the program.
Yeah, guys, Mick Fanning, thank you for coming out of retirement for this event. Saw you clutching your quads after that right-hander. Tell us about the leg burn factor.
Yeah, I feel like I'm walking around with the size of Michelle's legs. Yeah, look, it's awesome to be part of this. You know, it's historical, and yeah, very honoured to be called up for it. And yeah, the crowd too is incredible. You know, you come back up the point, all loving all the Aussie flags, so get noisy and let's get fun.
And what about the team huddle with Team Australia and your captain, Stephanie Gilmore?
Yeah, you know, Steph's a you know, amazing leader, and you know, she's the best out here. So you know, we had a solid heat. Wasn't our best yet. Joel and Willie and Tyler were back up and smashed their next wave, and yeah, we'll just keep trying to push the performance.
Mick, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie. Mick Fanning, happy to be a part of the WSL Founders Cup. And one thing we learned from talking to Mick and Joel Parkinson last year when they were getting warm-up runs out here, they said they were getting different feelings than they'd ever felt before. These guys have been on tour for 2 decades and saying they're feeling new kinds of nerves. That's that stadium energy that Lemoore, California is providing here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Australia in second after their first run under the world team. Brazil in that 3rd spot. Team Europe just getting started here. Frederico Moraes out of the gates with a 717, and he'll have some time to improve on the right, a 307 with 2 more chances to go.
Yeah, well, that's that 307 will be long gone for Frederico Moraes. He's just so steady on his feet. Maybe some nerves came into play there. We heard Joel talk about the fact that, you know, he was fine until he hit the water. As soon as he hit the water, that sort of amphitheater atmosphere really did shake him up.
Frankie Hare now stepping up for Team Europe, representing Germany. Her family from Germany, originally born here, but spent those early years of her life in Frankfurt with her grandparents.
Does it feel weird for the rest of the rhythm?
happened. I just felt like my first turns were...
And Federico breaking it down with Jeremy Flores.
Like maybe it didn't feel, but the turn, like looking on the screen.
Love the instant feedback on the boat ramp for Team Europe. And focus for Frankie. Frankie's been competing in the German Championships, which is down in Hossegor in France the last couple of years, and she's been loving it. Stoked to get the call up once again here for the WSL Surf Ranch. Some of my favorite highlights of Frankie's career is what she's done at Chopu, Tahiti for strike missions, packing some pretty scary barrel spots.
Yeah, that's a wave not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. So it's going to be interesting. I watched Frankie yesterday warming up, and she was probably one of the best in the barrel on the left-hander. So she's going to start off with the left and try and set the pace.
Great to see Frankie now taking on that second role. Team captain Joan Defay up next, followed by Flores and Leo Fioravanti for Italy. All packing this European force, which has been great to follow. Obviously, Martin Potter sitting next to me, winning a title for England back in 1989. Frankie Hare now setting up the left. Nice flow and rhythm. Such a beautiful style to watch down the line. Second turn, nice setup slash. Great positioning down the line for another big turn. Throws a wall of spray out the back. Nice front side wrap again. Nice easy composure for Frankie. Clean surfing here. She knows it's going to get hollow down the line. We'll see how she treats that barrel. Still turn time for one more big snap in the pocket for Frankie. Slowing down, slams on the brakes, pulls in. Nice easy exit for her. And a frontside power gouge to finish. Getting the completion from start to finish. She'll be getting a score on the board. Flores liked the look of that finishing move as well. Let's take another look, Potts. What'd you like here?
I just like the rhythm she had, Joe. Just nice and easy, smooth. Obviously identifying the fact there's 2 more runs to go after this. So just taking it easy, trying to save some energy for that right-hander as well. This is a leg burner, but beautiful style, nice flow. And then there's that element of radicalness right there. She just jams the fins into the face of the wave. I think she's trying to set up that inside as she did yesterday. Waiting for that tube ride to show its face. She was definitely one of the best yesterday on this end section in the barrel. So you talked about Chopu. It's a wave that is a wave of consequence. It's a big barreling left-hander. So Frankie obviously waiting for that tube ride. But in the meantime, just that nice, cool, calm, collected approach, and then slides into the barrel. So perfect timing, perfect positioning right there from Frankie. And on top of that, Joe, a nice big slash at the end, completed ride, so a good start for Frankie.
Strider Wazalewski saw the whole thing from the water. The Waz, how'd you like the form from the goofy foot?
I really like this setup. A lot of beautiful open face turns, so not attacking the lip, but getting that carve down in the face. She got on the back of the ski feeling really confident and said that, you know, she loved the way she did her work, and she's actually really excited to see this right go down. So really love the way she's surfing. And you know what? We'll be seeing a lot more right here at the WSL Founders Cup.
Welcome back to Lemoore, California. You're watching Surfing History in the Making, the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. We have a sold-out crowd here on Saturday and still witnessing the opening run for the best surfers in the world. Frankie Hare representing Germany, and Team Europe just finished her opening left. Now this is her right. Goofy foot back to the wall here. Pushing her points down the line, looking for her first major turn. Nice connection off the lip, down to the bottom. Frankie loves to get barreled. This one's gonna pick her up and send her over the falls. And popping up there, you can see that a little bit of that groundswell power. Even with this technology in this big lake here at the Surf Ranch Potts, you can see the hold down there on the barrel ride.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a wave of consequence, Joe, but it does have a fair bit of power. I mean, you talk to all the athletes and they find they're right in their normal equipment. You can get a lot of speed, and well, if you do get caught up in that lip, it will throw you over. Let's have a look at Frankie's wave here. Just a nice casual approach. A little bit of a missed time here. You can see as she starts to drag, she gets picked up too high on the wave, and that throws her down. So unfortunate there for Frankie, but these athletes have multiple runs. It's a throwaway, it's a warm-up, and she'll be back for more later.
Frankie, an absolute charger, actually had a warm-up session last week on a similar section, got picked up, went over the falls, and she actually hit her face on the floor of this big lake, and she said she had the craziest bruise on her face for about a week. It was a lot of pain. So an interesting one there. Let's now catch up with Frederico Moraes with Rosie Hodge.
That's right, the first surfer to kick off for Team Europe. Tell me about that stress when you see your name slated to go first out here.
I know, I was a bit nervous. Everything is very new to me. But yeah, it's so much fun. I had a good left, good start, and then on the right there was a bit of weird wind, a weird bump. And yeah, my turns didn't feel really sharp, so I thought, well, I might as well try to get really deep in the barrel, and I ended up falling off. So yeah, I'll just try to make it up for the next few waves, yeah.
We do have a few more rounds before we hit that final, so back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie. Frederico Moraes, the first to start for Team Europe, representing Portugal. A place called Cascais, a place that has a lot of World Surfing Championship Tour events, from Big Wave Rome to the Championship Tour in the World Surf League in Peniche at Super Tubos. Joanne Defay's got a big lineup at Hossegger, where she resides now, originally from Reunion Island. In this event, she's the team captain for Europe, and she's taken on that responsibility very well, Potts.
Yeah, she has, just fitting into the role very, very nicely. I like the fact that Joanne's first wave is going to be the left. For me, it's her strength. I mean, you look at the events that she's done well in, it's all been pretty much the left-handers that has given her that winning feeling. So this is going to be a nice start for Joanne Defay. Real strong, powerful surfer, hailing from the islands of Reunion. One of the best waves in the world there, a place called St. Lou. It's a long left-hand tube ride, so she's going to feel right at home.
We know that she's famous for big moves, and we'll see her bring it to a place called Lemoore, California. As you see the beauty in this place, we're expecting temperatures into the 90s throughout the day. It's going to get blazing hot, and for many years there wasn't much happening right on this piece of land, and they saw it as a potential site to produce one of the best waves in the world. Over 100 miles from the nearest coastline. It was top secret for a couple of years, so now it's for the whole world to see, and the best surfers in the world taking on this team format. So far, as we check out the Jeep team leaderboard, we had Frankie's high number come in at a 5.73. Frederico Moraes, his best number, a 7.17. Remember, this is their first run. They'll have 2 more chances to increase those numbers in run 2 and run 3 first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and they take the top 2 rides, top right, top left, and then they add those up. Top 3 teams will advance through to the finals. And it's pretty even Steven at the moment, Joe. Very, very close, and I think it's going to be that way throughout this entire event.
Team World still out front, led by team captain Jordy Smith. Captain of Team Europe, Joanne Defay, getting started on this famous backhand attack. First turn, and to get down the line, nice snap in the pocket. Throwing more water on the second turn off the top. Beautiful flow and rhythm. Defay, a little jam there to come around the corner. She's found the pace and the tempo, using the whitewater well on the last turn. Big fan on the open face. showcasing that power, former Rookie of the Year with a beautiful flow, anticipating a big hollow section. She'll grab the rail, pulls in a bit of a roller coaster ride, and she goes down. That tube technique was something she was working with Jeremy Flores on the last couple of days. That one picks her up, sends her over the falls. Did have some solid completions beforehand, before the big wipeout.
Yeah, nice start to the wave there for Joanne Defay. Unfortunately, didn't complete it, so that is going to hurt the scoring potential just a little bit. The judges will reward the damage done already, though. You can tell how comfortable she is on her backhand, Joe. Just nice, smooth, and she never looks rushed. I mean, just takes her time, sets up the tube here, and kind of got a little bit high. She tried to drop back down, and that sort of threw her balance a little bit off. So that inside tube, it isn't big and wide and open, so it is quite technical. You have to have your form down perfect.
Amazing day of action. Love all the fans watching the world's best compete, and there's some very special people out in the audience as well. Really great to see Fred Hemmings, Peter Townend, Sean Thompson, Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, Mark Richards, and Ian Cairns. You guys can all hear from them at 12 o'clock local time, right here at the Experience stage for a nice Q&A, question and answers happening to the founders. And everyone's here to answer all those questions about the old days and really creating what pro surfing really means. You know, some of those guys, Potts, you got to compete against.
Yep.
You were just a young Grom, little kid back then. And Sean Thompson, definitely one of your mentors that really inspired you a lot in your career.
Yeah, Sean, what a fantastic role model for the sport of surfing. Pretty much taught me everything I know, and he was nice enough to help me around the world, show me how to book my tickets and accommodation, and, you know, talk to the press. So Sean is going to be up there having a chat to you guys, along with the other legends.
Great to see that go down. Joanne Defay just started off her first stride. Her second wave is coming up next here at the WSL Founders Cup in Lemoore, California. We'll be right back. We're here at the WSL Surf Ranch, and you're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing. Joanne Defay, team captain for Europe, representing France, is now setting up her right on her first run of competition. First turn, she goes down. And this wave will go unridden. A tough one for Joanne Defay, who opened up with a 6.67 on the left. The team captain will have 2 more shots at improvement. We'll see that happen later on today.
Wow. Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there for Joanne, but as we said, they've got multiple runs, so she's going to have to pick up the pace. Obviously, 6.67 on her left-hander, so not a bad score to start off with. Yeah. Mistakes do happen, Joe, even to the best in the world.
And even on a perfect canvas, sometimes you get a little bit of changes with the seiche that happens, all that over water flow that dampen this lineup. Sometimes you hit a section and it's just a little bit different from the wave before. So even with man-made perfection, you see those subtle differences. Let's now catch up with Frankie Hare with Rosie Hodge.
That's right. Well, Frankie, to me, you've been one of the standouts in the practice sessions. Tell me about putting on that vest and competing out there. Does the pressure change a bit?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, so I was just trying to get that first left and do a couple turns and finish the wave, so get a little score on the board.
And what about using this space as a practicing tour? I noticed that you've just kind of got it dialed in the last few times that you've been surfing here.
It's pretty incredible to practice perfect waves. Like, there's not too many places, especially in California, that we can practice getting barreled, so it's pretty cool to come up here and just get to try 100 times in a day.
Frankie, you've been so impressive. Keep up the great work. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Frankie doing a great job to get some numbers on the board. Her best of 5.73 on the left. Her low score, a 193 on the right. She'll be able to get back out there later on today to improve on that number. So we now prepare for Jeremy Flores, representing Reunion Island in France. A guy that's been on tour for a very long time, over a decade competing since we saw him clinch the Rookie of the Year honor. Multiple-time pipe master, winning at Chopu Tahiti. And just looking at his personality behind the scenes, he's kind of taken on maybe a co-captain role. He's getting really fired up seeing his squad compete.
Yeah, I love the fact Jeremy's all smiles, and then all of a sudden the game face comes on. Starts to visualize what he's about to do on this left-hander, and that is to tear it to pieces. Jeremy Flores, one of the more experienced guys, incredible tube rider as well, Joe.
You've seen a lot of Jeremy surfing over the years. What are you expecting out of him on this opening wave?
I'm expecting Jeremy to be the anchor of this team. I mean, the more experience on tour, as you said, dual pipe master champion as well as Chopu. So the waves of consequence that Jeremy excels in. This wave, though, it's a little different in that respect, but it does have a tube ride. He's got an incredible backhand. So let's see what Jeremy's got for us.
The whole goal for all these teams, we have 5 teams here, and they want to be in the top 3 after tomorrow, after run 3 is complete, to make the final round of competition. Leading right now, world team out in front, led by team captain Jordy Smith. Dropping down a big 907. Team Australia's in second. Team Brazil hanging on to that 3rd spot. So we focus on Team Europe. Still a couple of competitors to go. Jeremy about to get started, followed by the Italian Leo Fioravante, who looked really sharp in the warm-up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when you look at the golf, right? Round 1 is get everything settled. Round 2, but then there's moving day, and I think round 2 for this event is going to be moving day for the surfers. They've got to make sure that they lock in great scores up into the excellent range for both ways, left and right, Joe.
And these surfers experiencing this format for the very first time. We're talking to some of the most decorated surfers in the sport, taking on a day for surfing history changing here at the Founders Cup. Totally different scenario from what they're surfing in the ocean, with priority, hassling for position. It's all up to you. You've got this surf ranch to yourself, and now it's game time. Jeremy Flores about to get started. Setting up his first turn down the line is Jeremy. Clean whip off the top, jamming harder on the second move. Already into a 3rd backside hack in the pocket. Rips one off the lip. Perfect start for Flores. Straight up vertical down the line. Still just working his way back up to the open face. Back to backside hammer after hammer. He's anticipating this end section to open up. There's that tube stall and technique. Some of the best form in the world. Flores makes it out. Room for one more maneuver. Backside roundhouse cutback to seal the deal.
Yeah, that's the best way for Team Europe for sure at the moment. Frederica Moraes holding a 7.17. Joanne Defay with a 6.67. So Jeremy Flores just about to lock in a good score and get Team Europe right back in the mix, Joe.
Great to see Flores just put everything he had into that final section as well. Really focusing on the big backside turns throughout this wave.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do. I mean, this wave offers multiple opportunities. It's a high-performance wave, so these guys have really got to light it up to get those big scores. You talk about technique. Jeremy Flores gets those feet planted on the board and just rattles off big turns. Almost a mistake right there, though. Kind of got caught behind the section a little bit. We saw Joel Parkinson get caught behind, never made it back out on the open face. So it is tricky. Jeremy setting this inside up there. A couple of nice big maneuvers and finished off with a beautiful tube ride. So pretty much did everything he could do on that wave. And we'll have to sit back and wait and see what those score comes through. But Jeremy Flores brings it through the inside. And this is that tube riding technique that he was showing Joanne Defay yesterday. Joanne tried to emulate that this morning. See that front foot kind of bends over, get real compressed to the board. Uses that right hand, extra point of contact, the left hand feeling the speed of the wave. Jeremy comes out nice and clean.
Flores waiting for that first number on the left, knowing that Team Europe needs a jump start to put themselves in that top 3 standings. Jeremy now waiting for his right to come through in just a moment as the WSL Founders Cup continues here in Lemoore, California. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Lemoore, California for the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. The team standings are well underway. Seeing some brilliant performances from Team World. Michelle Perez had some intent to lay down some serious power on this left, named after the legendary Jerry Lopez. And now the team standings going through the roof. Australia still second, Team Brazil still third. Still seeing the rest of Team Europe and USA still yet to compete. We'll be right back for more action from Lemoore, California right after this.
Oh my God! No way!
Built upon the shoulders of giants and the minds of dreamers, we find ourselves over 100 miles from the nearest ocean. Huge full rotation, alley-oop. 25 of the world's best surfers have gathered for a historic undertaking that marries the founding fathers of our sport with champions and the unlimited potential of a new generation. Medina comes through with another big completion. Possibilities are endless. The standard for progression as well as history has been changed forever. Welcome to the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Welcome to Lemoore, California. What a groundbreaking day in surfing history as we find ourselves far from the ocean. But we're seeing groundbreaking performances throughout the day from the world's best competing in a team format. All going for the first ever Founders Cup of Surfing trophy. Thanks for being with us, Joe Turpel, alongside one of my heroes of the sport, a former world champion, Martin Potter. Oh, of course, Potts, this is a special day in surfing history, and the World Surf League is so proud to be sharing this moment with a nationwide CBS audience. Surfing, for you, watching it for the first time as a kid, I know it's a moment that you'll never forget, and now getting to share something like this to the world is extra special.
Extra special, Joe. I mean, I've been around the surfing world for a very long time, but what we're witnessing here today is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, a man-made wave that actually really gets the juices flowing. It's a wave that just barrels. It's a long wave. It's an incredible sight for sore eyes, and we've got some of the best world's best surfers here today.
So many big impressions just watching this stadium fill up first thing in the morning in the dark. We have from CBS, Jamie Erdahl, normally an NFL sideline reporter, taking this all into the surf ranch. How's your day going, Jamie?
I cannot complain, Joe. I am the rookie on this crew, but I can tell you that a tackle on the football field, not much unlike a tackle that these surfers are taking from this man-made wave here in the middle of California. It's an unbelievable morning. Fans were rolling in hours before the first wave unveiled here in Lemoore, California. The fans, this is unique for them as we talk about that historical piece of surfing. This is the closest fans have ever been able to get from a spectator standpoint in this stadium-style seating to the best surfers in the world, and it's different for them as well in terms of the format you're about to talk about. It's a team sport today, and although that's different for them, they act as if they have done this before. Everyone has each other's backs as we're about to see Team USA roll out.
We're right there with you with the energy, Jamie. Thank you so much. Calling the action, one time on the NFL sideline, now poolside here at the Surf Ranch as we focus on the rules for the Founders Cup. It's a very special discipline on hand. First, focusing on the team aspect. And we have 2 big days of competition. 5 teams in total from Brazil to Team World, Australia, Europe, and the USA. And you have 3 runs. In one run, you have 2 waves. One's a right, one's a left. We'll explain that further as this continues, but you have a couple of chances to improve on your top 2 rides. You just keep one right, one left for your team in hopes of making the final. So first run, they're trying to get the nerves out of the way, trying to put big numbers on the board to help their team make the final coming tomorrow on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely right, Joe. Very similar to a snowboard run in the half pipe. So, you know, you get a couple of shots at it to lock in some big scores. There's the leaderboard at the moment. So Team USA about to hit the water. Europe with their last guy in the water. So Team World at the moment, Jordy Smith, Michelle Perez. I mean, those guys are on fire here this morning, Joe.
Really great to see Team World stepping up, led by team captain Jordy Smith into the 9s. Remember, this is just the first run, so all teams will have their second run and third run to try to overtake that lead. Most important thing on the line, make the top 3.
Yep.
So you're a part of that final tomorrow.
You know, and also when you look at the scoring of the waves, it's out of 10 points. So 10 being the maximum. Jordy Smith with a 9-point ride already this morning, so he's in a good spot.
Riding waves, Spots. You've always talked to me about being the best feeling in the world. You're a world champ for good reason. Can you put it into words why it makes you feel so good when you're riding on water?
Oh, it's you know, it's Mother Nature at its finest. I mean, you know, the ocean, one of the most incredible elements of Mother Nature. So to be able to get in amongst it and ride those waves, it's beyond sort of words, really. It's just something you've got to experience. This wave pool that Kelly Slater's invented is pretty similar to that, let me tell you.
Well, it's the best feeling in the world, but then focusing on competition, it's very serious for these guys to take out top honors in the first ever Founders Cup, and I know a lot of these team guys have some serious strategies to try to find a way to win, Jamie.
Exactly, and that's what I mentioned before. This is all new for them in terms of sharing information. I talked with Lakey Peterson yesterday. She said the nerves are there. In their other competitions, you're not sure when that best wave is going to roll out. But here at the World Surfing League Founders Cup, you know that perfect wave is coming about every 3 to 4 minutes. So watch for those conversations to go down between teammates as Team USA rolls on here. When we come back here on CBS at the Founders Cup, Captain Kelly Slater introduces a historic rock star lineup for Team USA that is just around the corner. Stay with us here.
You're watching the WSL Founders Cup, and let's find out where we are positioned in this beautiful world, or in a place called California. Lemoore, California is over 100 miles off the coast. Few-hour drive from Los Angeles, few hours from San Francisco. Closest everyday ocean surfers are probably in Santa Cruz, California. And you come out here, you see a lot of tractors, a lot of friendly people. And this place was a really top secret operation for many years because they were just testing out this prototype, a manned wave that was comparable to ocean power. Wave pools in the past were all about wind swell. This is all about ground swell, which means really powerful wave technology. A long ride where if you're a surfer, you can ride for 45 seconds over an 11-acre pond and try to get the wave of your life. Really great to see the technology underway and now creating the first ever edition of the World Surf League's Founders Cup, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Joe Turpel alongside former world champ Martin Potter, seeing perfection in the making has been incredible because, as you know, surfing in the ocean your entire life, not every wave is the same. You can't always get that perfect ride. Well, until now. Until now, exactly right, Joe. It does have that element of unpredictability, but this wave is absolutely perfect. Now looking forward to Team USA, led by Kelly Slater, the team captain.
Hi, I'm Kelly Slater, USA team captain at the Founders Cup here in Lemoore, California at Surf Ranch. My fellow team members are Carissa Moore, Lakey Peterson, John Florence, and Kalohe Andino.
What a squad for Kelly Slater being the team captain, 11-time world champ. The most successful surfer in the world. And now hosting his team on paper, which looks very incredible. Carissa Moore, a 3-time world champ representing Hawaii. John Florence, a 2-time reigning world champ. One of the most exciting surfers in the world from San Clemente, Kalohe Andino, who's had top 10 finishes. An exciting surfer to watch. Lakey Peterson also coming off a huge win to kick off the year at the Roxy Pro on the Gold Coast. Now with anticipation to kick things off. Remember, still on the Jeep leaderboard, it's the world team setting the pace today. Yeah, it is. You know, not surprisingly, though, I mean, you look at the talent that's involved in that world team: Michelle Perez, Geordie Smith, Bianca Baitendach, Paige Hareb, and Kanoa Igarashi. So those are the surfers that are able to get up into that excellent range so far this morning. Kalohe Andino representing Southern California, setting up his first run. He's a regular footed surfer, stands with his left foot forward. So the left, this is a running left, will be surfing with his back to the wave. Flowing down the line. Nice, easy approach for Andino. Big blast off the top of this one. Another backside snap for Andino as he runs into the open face. Big backhand jam, throwing some water, aggressive off the top of that wave. Flowing over the whitewater sections. Now slamming on the brakes to pull inside the tube. Great positioning, nice and deep. Andino gets the exit and kicks on out of there. So you see on that running wave, Team USA proud of Andino's approach. There's the tubing section of the wave where you try to pull in and get the view. That's a surfer's dream right there. Now you can get it on demand at the Surf Ranch. Yeah, well, you know it's coming, so you can almost set up for it. And I think the Team USA in a really good position. Why? Because they're going last, so they've seen everyone's game. They know exactly what they've got to do. Kalohe Andino, recognized as one of the best backhand surfers on tour. Nice, clean, smooth surfing. So you want to start the wave nice and clean, not too radical. Get those feet set, find the rhythm. And, well, there's a scoring scale, Joe. You want to be up into that 8 to 10 points to make it through into the top 3 teams. So Kalohe Andino on his way to a good score. Nice, clean surfing. The longer you ride the wave, obviously, the more opportunity you get to score. So you want to finish this thing off. A couple of nice turns there from Kalohe, and as you said, hits the brakes. Now, this is what you're looking for. This is what you want. Nice, clean tube ride and come out. But the most important part right there, Joe, to finish on your feet. If you finish on your feet, you're going to maximize your scoring potential. We have a sold-out crowd here in Lemoore, California, here on Saturday for the opening day of competition. Kalohe Andino setting up the stage for Team USA. And I know the whole squad was happy about that performance. Jamie, what'd you think?
They certainly are, and because of that sold-out crowd, we'd heard from several surfers already this morning how intense it feels when you hear the wave begin to roll out and the fans begin to swell. So you can only imagine the nerves Andino had right there. But Carissa Moore just told me that he was in the zone, headphones in right before he hit there. Team USA behind him, all conversation, walking him through that wave as if they were in his ear. So they are here, they're supportive, and they're ready to roll on their own waves.
Thank you so much, Jamie Erdahl, an NFL sideline reporter here poolside at the WSL Surf Ranch. Watching that first wave for Andino on the left. He's got one of the best backhands in the business, and I think when you think about his waves on tour pots that we've seen over the years, sometimes when he gets a good performance left, he's unstoppable. In a wave like Cloudbreak at Fiji when it was head high, he made the final series without a problem.
Yeah, absolutely right. One of his best results too with Brazil, coming up against Michelle Perez, getting some incredible left-handers. So a good way to start for Kolohe Andino. We're still waiting for the judges to lock in that score. You kind of want to get up into that excellent range, Joe, to try and combat with that Team World. Michelle Perez, obviously, with the highest score so far of the day, Jordy Smith, sorry, with a 9.07. That's kind of the benchmark.
So great to see the standings. World team out front, followed by Australia and Brazil. All teams trying to be in the top 3 after their 3 runs are complete by tomorrow. This is the first run for Team USA. You get a left, which we just saw Kolohe ride. Now he's about to get a right. So an easy way to figure that out. Surfer drops in. To their right is which way they're going. And that's called the right in surfing. You hear that all day long. Kolohe is now setting up this right-hander. That lip line is that top of the wave he's going to try to project off of. The more critical part of it is closest to the breaking part of the wave. If it's crumbling, it's good for maneuvers. If it's tubing, it's good to pull in. Drilling some big moves off the top. Now it's starting to tube around Kolohe. He's going to stall. Quick vision there. That back arm is trying to slow himself down to stay deep in the pocket of this barrel. He'll let go. Gets the completion. Back to maneuvers. Tees off that lip. He's got a hard line to project off of. Now he wants to stall and slow down and put himself in this tubing part of the wave. Nice and deep. Andino disappears. Unfortunately, too deep, and he'll go down. But what a great start for Kolohe, for Team USA.
Yeah, great start. I mean, that first wave for Kolohe Andino was up into the excellent range, so off to a great start is Team USA. A little bit of mistake on the end of that ride there for Kolohe, but a lot of damage done through the mid part of the wave. Nice maneuvers. Now, that top to bottom turning there, that's what you kind of want to do. Now he hits the brakes. This is one of the best feelings in the world right there, to get inside that tube. The T-Mobile tube time, I think the record this morning is about 13 seconds. So Kolohe Andino trying to better that, and he comes out around about the 11-second mark. So Kolohe Andino right up there. Beautiful, clean surfing from Andino. As you said, Joe, when that wave crumbles, that's when you want to go to those maneuvers. As soon as it starts to get hollow, you want to try and get in the tube. And unfortunate for Kolohe, not coming out of that, but a lot of damage done. Started off great on this wave, though.
Great to see Andino's form, and you can tell just shaking off the nerves to represent USA on the first lap here at the WSL Surf Ranch. Getting a solid tube ride and then falling on the inside corner. Andino's scores will be locking in. Kicking things off on his left at an 8.5. A big start there for Team USA. Strider Wazalewski saw everything go down from downstairs. How'd that look for you, Waz?
It looked pretty amazing. I mean, there's some beautiful surfing happening out here. You know, Kolohe Andino, he is one of the most progressive surfers in the world. And for him to rip through that wave on the inside and then come unstuck in that barrel, he wanted to push it to the very furthest he could do. And he did a great job at it, but he came up short. So he's back to the drawing board.
Thank you, Strider. Numbers dropping in for Andino after the ride, a 6.0. And greeted to a big round of applause. His father, Dino Andino, former Rookie of the Year on the championship tour many years ago, on hand watching Kolohe compete. About a 4-hour drive from where he lives in San Clemente, and feeling good about that first run for Team USA. His dad, Dino, asking him about his legs after a 45-second ride. So demanding. And Potts, you're getting him back-to-back. He had about 4 minutes to catch his breath in between waves.
Yeah, so, I mean, stamina comes into play. You've got to be super fit. And these athletes are. I mean, they finely tuned athletes. They do a lot of hard work in the off-season. But this wave is very demanding.
Barrel, you didn't get very deep on it. Yeah, I was kind of in the middle of it, right? Yeah, you were in the middle of the barrel. I was like kind of ahead of it for a while, and then you got into it, but only for a short period. Yeah. You're just kind of a little bit out racing it. Yeah. Well, yesterday I fell both times on the barrel, so I was like,
Yeah, you got to pump through that thing at the second time.
Yeah, I was trying. Maybe true, like you did.
And Dino getting some feedback from team captain Kelly Slater and his dad Dino Andino. Still absolutely ripped. So now a 3-time world champ representing the island of Oahu. Carissa Moore taken to the lineup. And what a voice she has. She sings like an angel. She sang last night with Lily Miola and Kelly Slater to a really fun crowd here at the Surf Ranch to really kick off such a special weekend. Wave approaching, Carissa Moore paddling in. Another regular footed surfer like Kolohe, so the left will be on her back end. A couple of quick maneuvers to get this one started. Judges love speed. They love how she's flowing between her turns, S-ing her way up and down and using a lot of the wave here. All maneuver-based surfing here, hitting it off the top again, showing total control. All the maneuvers look the best, closest to the breaking part of the wave where it's nice and critical, and Carissa teeing off the lip. Now stalling, looking for some tube time. The surfer from Hawaii finds her way out. Inside corner, it's a belt off the top, and she ends up staying on her feet on her opening ride.
Wow, incredible athlete is Carissa Moore. I mean, you said she got a voice like a bird, but I tell you what, she serves better, I think. But Carissa Moore starting well. I mean, just the flow she had on that wave was unbelievable, Joe. Let's have a look at her technique here. Watch the back leg now. This is what impresses me about Carissa. With that back leg, she really does extend it through the inside here, trying to get that little bonus tube ride to put extra points on the board and then finish it strong. So good opening ride there for Carissa Moore.
Unbelievable ride there. Carissa Moore putting up her first score for Team USA. Her next wave is coming up next here at the Founders Cup on CBS. Welcome back to Lemoore, California. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. A sold-out crowd here in Lemoore and a groundbreaking day in surfing history as we bring all the world's best surfers to an inland location over 100 miles off the nearest coastline. And that is a huge deal because this technology is mimicking ocean power. Carissa Moore just locked in a beautiful score. Now here comes her wave on her front side attack, facing the wave and driving down the line with a lot of speed. A couple of clean top turn wraps, now into the tube, disappearing, perfect exit. Wants a little bit more of the barrel here, stalls and goes right back in. 2 quick barrels to kick this one off. Now back out in front to the open face, clean top turn route. a 3-time world champ representing Team USA. Now looking to set this section up nice and deep, really hollow. She's completely gone. Can Carissa make it? Gets the completion and a layback finishing move to get out of there. Kelly Slater loves it. Pat O'Connell loves it. Lakey Peterson, her teammate, high-fiving. And one of the best runs we've seen today, Potts.
Absolutely, Joe. 7.43 on her first wave. And that's going to better that for sure. That's going to go way up into the excellent range. A lot of support for Carissa Moore out here this morning. And why not? I mean, this young lady, multiple world champion, one of the best ever as she attacks this wave here. You can see that positioning right there. Slows herself down. An extra point of contact. Now, you'll see her use her right hand to contact the wave and slow herself down just to stay as deep as possible. The longer you're in there, the more points you're going to get. And there it is, T-Mobile tube time, 12 seconds, so right up there with some of the best. But what she does on the inside is what impressed me here, just setting it up. The legs are starting to burn her right about now. You can see she stood up nice and tall, waiting for this end section to really give her that extra scoring opportunity. So Carissa Moore, what a wave from her. And that is going to put her and her team in a great position. Not only did she start strong, the mid part of it was great, the tube ride was perfect, and she finished really strong as well. So that is going to go well and truly up into the excellent range. 8+ is excellent. 8 to 10 points is excellent. I think that's where that's going to go, Joe.
What a brilliant start for Carissa Moore. Back-to-back keepers so far in round 1. Let's now hear from Kolohe Andino alongside Jamie Erdahl.
Kolohe found out yesterday that he was the first surfer to go for Team USA because no one else wanted to do it. So what were the nerves like, and when did you feel like you settled in?
Well, I was just like, oh, okay, I'll do it. You know, no one really wanted to do it. And then I was like, okay, you know, practice a little, like getting a little pressure on. So it was cool. And yeah, I'm stoked with my performance. You know, I got in the 14.5 zone, so it's cool.
What does it feel like on the back end? I know you fell on the second ride. Is that out of exhaustion because this wave is so long?
No, I just kind of mistimed it. Yesterday, I in the practice session, I fell on the first tube, so I was like a little unfamiliar with the end tube. But yeah, I think my left was good enough to have a decent run on both my waves.
Just keep getting all this information so you can use it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And Kolohe doing a great job for Team USA to start an 8.6 and a 6.0 for Andino. Looking for big numbers for Carissa Moore, who is all smiles. A 7.43, but on the right, a 9.27. Kelly loves it.
Wave of the day, Joe. 9.27. Wow, that is amazing stuff from Carissa Moore. No wonder she's got 3 world titles under her belt. And I think she's going to get more if she keeps up that.
Yeah, brother, great surfing. Thank you.
Getting some words of wisdom from Team USA was Carissa Moore, and giving her a pat on the back for a brilliant performance as 2-time world champ from the North Shore of Oahu, John Florence, prepares for his first run of the day. One of the best in the world in every discipline, and now his first chance at a run here at the Founders Cup of Surfing. We've got this hydrofoil pulling all this energy over this reef that was created by a solid team of engineers. And John is loving it. First turn, nice and clean snap to start. Plays with the lip right off the top now. A big windup and crushes it again on the open face. Backhand float, John's down. Ends up falling early on his first wave.
Now, Joe, yesterday when we were watching the warm-up session, John had a couple little problems with that left hand. I think it's such a fine line between really going vertical on the wave. I think you need to project more down the line on the wave because it is quite a fast wave. So John trying to go vertical, which, hey, I mean, this is one of the world's best, back-to-back world titles. Let's try and see what went wrong. You see how he got the drift there? He's gone a lot more vertical than most, and what's going to happen? Well, if you're surfing on the edge, mistakes aren't far behind. So unfortunate there for John. I'm sure he'll fix it up on his next exchange.
So John Florence catching his breath. His next wave will be a right as he puts up a number for Team USA. We'll take a quick break as the Founders Cup of Surfing continues right here on CBS. Welcome back to Lemoore, California. This is a big event for the World Surf League. This is the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Team USA still in this lineup. This is a beautiful wave, a right and a left, and it's all man-made perfection, groundbreaking technology. They're still calling it a prototype because they're working out all the little changes they can produce on this wave. John Florence, a two-time reigning world champ, just took apart a couple of big turns on the right. Big blast on that third decision, ditching his fins out the back, now stalling for some tube time. One of the best of all time, maybe the best when it comes to pulling into tubes. A lengthy tube ride, now back out in front. Beautiful layback carve, using a lot of the open face. Florence with plenty of room, blows the tail, but slips off on the inside. So John Florence, 3.43 on the left. Couple of big moves on the right, getting more points out of the panel pots.
I'm just trying to work out, you know, a couple of mistakes back-to-back there for John Florence. And I mean, it's kind of baffling because this guy doesn't make too many mistakes. I mean, back-to-back world titles over the last 2 years. The best surfer in the world at the moment as we speak. But a couple of mistakes there for John, maybe some added pressure. But you know what, when you're pushing it as hard as John does, you know, mistakes can happen, and John was just letting it fly right there. That was a beautiful, big, arcing maneuver. This turn right here, I think, is going to gather a lot of points right there, and then trying to bust the tail out. So, you know, surfing on the edge, which is what the judges want to see. Let's have a look here, right there, throwing the tail out. He was expecting those fins to slide a little bit, get a little bit of release. Unfortunately, it grabbed and took him down. So back to the drawing board for John.
John Florence will have another run later on today. One brilliant run went down for Carissa Moore, getting a 9.27, and big wave champ Peter Mel was thrilled to watch that go down. What'd you love about that one, Peter?
Everything about it, Joe Trappell. It was a beautiful wave that was from start to finish. Her barrel ride, very deep. Her surfing on the outside section, high risk, but very, very nice and flowing. Part of the criteria here, speed, power, and flow, combination of major maneuvers, all of those things come into the judging scoring elements, and she did all of it. You got to take a look at that wave, and you can see that just everything there was packaged from the very beginning of the wave all the way to the end.
We love it, Pete. Taking a look at it now, we see that first draw down the line and then created the 9.27. What was your favorite part about it?
Wow. I think, like Pete said, I think everything about this wave was amazing. Wow, look at that. Perfect tube ride. I mean, the style, the positioning, the timing, the flow, everything came into play. Close to excellent.
Really great to see that 9.27. Carissa Moore is already with Jamie Erdahl.
Carissa, you had success here last year at the first event, and now you're at the Founders Cup. What did you bring in from that event, yesterday's practice ride, and then into today?
I think it's all about timing out here and listening to the people around you about what sections are to take advantage of, and just staying calm.
We've heard you talk about nerves before this, but you sang last night, we hear, with Kelly Slater. Who's the better singer, you or Kelly?
Kelly is talented, more talented than me in all aspects of life. It's not even a question, but it was such an honor to be up there on stage with him.
Well, it's good when you're a part of the team then, all Team USA.
You!
Great to hear from Carissa Moore, and we love that, Jamie. She's singing, jamming behind the scenes, and all focused when it comes to performing. Carissa Moore, a three-time world champ, and a huge part of Team USA today, competing. As we look at the standings, they're still in that fifth place position, trying to move up into the top three. And now it's time for Lakey Peterson from Santa Barbara, California, to set things up. Doing a good job to kick off the season with a major victory on the Gold Coast of Australia. And now all about the team aspect. Potts, what do you think Lakey's going to throw down today?
Well, I think she's got to go big, I think, and that's the only way she surfs. I mean, she lays the board on the rail, she uses a lot of power, and she does her maneuvers with a lot of speed. So we're going to look for some dynamic turns from Lakey Peterson. She's fine-tuned her game. I mean, she's put herself right in the world title race this year.
That wrapping carve, she's been shown at a lot of venues around the world. Can she drill this in through on this opening wave?
Without a doubt, Joe. Let's sit back and watch this one.
Lakey Peterson getting started for Team USA. Set up work on the left. Once again, back to the wall, standing with her left foot forward. Setting up that lip to hit. You see it crumbling behind her, so it's catering for big maneuvers. Once this thing gets hollow and round, she's going to look to pull in. so far, it's all about getting some turns off the top, throwing some water there for Lakey. Driving hard off the bottom, she'll recover, now stalling, anticipating the tube ride. Lakey wants to disappear, just a quick one there. Out in front and seals it with an aggressive backside snap to finish.
Yeah, very important there to finish on your feet, that's for sure, but Lakey Peterson showing some skill there, started the wave nice and smooth, and I think that's really kind of what you got to do. Let the wave start gaining that speed and height, and then start unloading your turn. So Lakey just took her time with it, which I really enjoyed. Gets up nice and clean, and you just watch how every maneuver just becomes a little bit more powerful. Nice turns there from Lakey, and she's on her way to a good score, Joe.
Doing a great job for Lakey Peterson, representing Team USA. We'll give you an update on the Jeep leaderboard right after this quick break. You're watching the Founders Cup on CBS. Welcome back to the WSL Surf Ranch. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Lakey Peterson still in her first run. Just took off on a left. This is called a right as she faces the wave. Belting a couple of big snaps off the lip. Jams it off the top of the wave. It's getting nice and hollow. There's this first tube section. Lakey gets shoved down the line. Pushing her point towards maneuvers again. A big power hack right in the pocket. Winds up again, throwing a lot of water out the back on that aggressive frontside carve. Showcasing her power off the lip again. Wants to get deeper on this tube. Almost totally gone. Great positioning to get the completion. One more section. Lakey wraps it shut with a bonus snap to finish. Potts, that had to feel amazing for Lakey Peterson.
Oh, absolutely, Joe. What a great wave there for Lakey. 6.6 on her first wave, so this is going to better that. And we talk about the power and the speed that she utilizes to make those turns look so dynamic, and that's what the judges want to see. They want to see emphasis on each maneuver. And when you see these athletes doing these big turns on the wave, the water's going to fly through the air, and the more water, the more power, and that impresses the judges a lot as well. So let's have a look at Lakey. Light on her feet to start off with, and now she starts to really hook into it. Nice little stalling there. You can see she's using that backhand to slow herself down and try and get as deep as possible. The longer you're in there, the more points you're going to get. And again, this is the maneuver base through the inside, setting up the inside tube ride as well. But in the meantime, Lakey racking up the points and then gets a beautiful tube through the inside. So Lakey Peterson joining the dots, ticking all the boxes in the judging criteria as well. And a nice, clean little tube through the inside. Watch this turn here. Hammers it again. So nice surfing there from Lakey Peterson. And that is going to be a great score for Team USA.
So an impressive right-hander from Lakey Peterson waiting for scores. Let's hear from John Florence with Jamie Erdahl.
John, a challenging ride on both sides for you. What happened on your 2 falls?
I think both rides I just got overexcited. I was telling myself to kind of just be mellow my first couple waves, and I just got excited, yeah, and kind of pushed it a little too hard.
How does this environment feel? It's unlike anything else when you have the fans along you as you're surfing.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, you're going out, everyone's yelling, getting amped up. It's a little bit nerve-wracking because everyone's so close right there. But it's a really cool just environment to be in and be surfing in and competing in.
All right, thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Great to hear from John Florence, a 2-time reigning world champ from the North Shore of Oahu, doing such a great job in the last 2 seasons on every venue around the world. Crazy in the barrel, really showcases how deadly he is with high performance, and he'll have 2 more runs to add some numbers to Team USA. And now it's time for team captain Kelly Slater to take to the lineup the greatest of all time, setting up his first run of competition here at the Founders Cup.
Okay.
Kelly, now 46 years of age, one of the most decorated surfers of all time, winning his first world title in the early 90s. The best ever at the Pipeline Masters. 55 championship tour wins. That record could stand for the test of time. And the captain for Team USA. Lakey and Carissa having a quick chat after that last ride. Peterson turning in a 7.83 on the right, a 6.6 on the left. And now they get their final athlete to compete, and it's their captain in Kelly. He's asking for the crowd to get behind him. Kelly rode the first wave ever here at the Surf Ranch. And now taking onto the lineup in competition for the first time in his life. Backside snap to get started. Slater driving hard off the lip. Another projection turn to get down the line. Backhand float. Big whip right on the money for Kelly. Recovers there. Another power snap in the pocket for Kelly, and looking for this hollow section on the inside. Down carve, setting up the lip to hit again. A ton of maneuvers for the greatest of all time. Jams it. Here it's getting nice and hollow. Kelly sneaks in for the vision. Plenty of tube time for Kelly, and he'll get out of there. Full wrapping cutback on one of the best lefts we've seen all day, Potts.
Wow. Unbelievable stuff there from the greatest of all time, and what an anchor man to have. I mean, you know, to now understand what these guys need to move up into that top 3. Kelly Slater identifies that. Absolutely went to town on that wave. Multiple maneuvers, beautiful flow, and probably one of the better inside tube rides we've seen. Look at the technique there as he climbs up and over the white water. Just feels weightlessness as he floats through that section. And again, just a nice tight turn in the pocket. So Kelly, what a wave.
Scores dropping in for Kelly Slater on his first left. His right is coming up next here at the Founders Cup of Surfing, live on CBS. Welcome back to Lemoore, California. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing presented by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Call it the Founders Cup because this pays tribute to all the founding fathers of professional surfing. There's a group of guys way back in the day that's wanted to get paid to surf. And look what the world's best are treated to here in 2018. Here comes Kelly Slater, team captain for USA. Carving move there just to get down the line. Uses that lip line, hits it hard off the top. Thinking about it too. Delays it, now pulls it. Nice and deep, comes out. Looks to stall again for a bonus tube section. Kelly has a beautiful line to come out. Driving hard through that front side carve. Using a lot of the open face. Uses the lip to hit on that forehand snap. A lot of water moving on that hack off the top. Deep in the barrel, disappears. Can Kelly make it? Comes flying out into an alley-oop attempt. Going above the lip with an aerial to try to finish. But what an amazing ride from Kelly Slater, the 11-time world champ. Before that last wave pots, USA already moved to third on the Jeep leaderboard.
Wow, 8.80 for Kelly Slater. And as I said, what an anchor man to have. He knows exactly what he's got to do to get those scores. And he's going to add on to that score with that last ride from Kelly. Taking in the deep breaths. This wave is a long ride. Let's have a look at some of his technique here. Notice how he just keeps that board moving rail to rail. Now that just maintains the speed. It enables you to keep those fins free and unleash some big turns. Try to sneak in the tube there, didn't let him. Now he does. Perfect positioning from Kelly as he comes out a little earlier. So he slows back down and gets back in there. You can see him using that backhand to slow himself down and get in that tube as long as possible. Maximize the score. Kelly Slater on his way to another great score. Combination of big turns, nice, clean, smooth, mistake-free surfing. That's what the judges are going to love. And then setting up this inside, which is very, very important. I think we're going to see a lot of above the lip surfing here as this day progresses. But Kelly finishing nice and strong and then goes for the alley-oop at the end. Unfortunately not making it. So what a start there for Kelly Slater.
And representing the team captain role for USA, Strider, how impressed were you with that last wave for Slater?
Well, come on. I mean, that was amazing. He's one of the best out here, if not the best, and got to catch up with him after his left on the ski. And he broke it down for me. He changed out his fins, so he went to a smaller template, looser board, and then part of the routine in between the two waves is breathing. You've got to really catch back up, oxygenate, and feel better, and that's a huge part of settling in to catching that ride. So there's a great thing going down right now. We're watching history, and we just watched one of the greatest of all time go through the roof, and that was fun.
And remember, Kelly Slater had the foot injury in South Africa last year, and he's had to withdraw from every event on the World Surf League Championship Tour so far. He was working hard to get that foot nice and solid, ready to compete. But I even think Kelly, for how accomplished he is in the competitive arena, he's more fired up than I've seen him in a long time to surf his best today.
I think, and you know, he's like a proud dad as well. I mean, look at what he's created over the last, this has been 10 years in the making. And Kelly Slater, hold your head up high, son. It's an amazing day, groundbreaking stuff here. Some of the world's best, and finally the world gets to see this amazing wave here in Lemoore.
We've seen every team compete already through their first run of competition. Scores coming in for last of Kelly Slater. It's an 8.47. USA's in the lead. World team goes to second. Australia down to third. Pressure on as we continue through the runs today.
Yeah, absolutely. Top three teams move through, but you know, you look at Team Brazil and Europe at the moment in the hot seat, so they need to come back in round number 2 and drop some big scores, Joe.
Unbelievable for Kelly, the 11-time world champ, 46 years of age and still fired up to compete. He's got every record in the game as USA takes such a solid number, 72.96 total points after the first run, as Lakey Peterson's now with Jamie Erdahl.
Lakey, this is one of, if not the longest wave that you guys have to ride in your season. What is the turnaround like when the 3 minutes you have to wait to go back on that one side? What is that in terms of the exhaustion?
it feels like a very quick 3 minutes. Yeah, it's good. You know, I think it brings out the athletic side a little bit more of everyone, and you can train for that a bit, which I appreciate. So, you know, you try and just take advantage of the 3 minutes, breathe a lot, and just get ready for the next wave.
You find out now that the U.S. team is in first place after Kelly Slater's final ride. How do you handle the afternoon heat now?
I think, you know, now we've all had some great rides. I feel like that was just getting the jitters out a little bit, and we're feeling great. It's an awesome team to be a part of, obviously. So this afternoon's approach will be a bit more aggressive from me. Try and be a bit more progressive and take a little bit more risk and have fun.
A lot more to see. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Lakey Peterson, happy to be a part of the USA squad. A 6'6" and a 7'8" as she's contributing big time to this total as we check out the Jeep team leaderboard. And Dino from San Clemente got the jitters out of the way. No one wanted to go first. He took on that pressure. 8.5 with Kelly's last run. USA leads the team standings as the Founders Cup of Surfing continues in Lemoore, California, right here on CBS. We'll be right back. You're watching the WSL Founders Cup of Surfing, and brought to you by Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. What an exciting day of competition here in Lemoore, California, as we see all some great action from the USA squad. Kolohe Dino, the first one to compete, and took out some big numbers, an 8.5 and a 6.0, and Carissa was passed the torch and ran with it and brought the numbers to a 9.27. Florence doing a great job pushing, but left the door open for Kelly to take the lead in the standings right on his final ride. CBS stream live 24/7, highlights, scores, and news for you to be across all your connected devices on CBS Sports HQ. Check it out on CBSSportsHQ.com. What a beautiful day for pro surfing, creating history. Just coming off a beautiful run from Kelly as USA is taking the lead. Kelly is now with Jamie Erdahl.
Kelly, as the captain and the anchor of this team, I need your analysis now. Break down a couple of those rides there in terms of what pushed you guys into first place.
Yeah, well, Team World did really, really well earlier. They only fell in 2 waves. When you got that kind of pressure, you don't know until you're in that situation, but for anyone who plays golf, the first tee jitters is kind of like that, times about 5,000. I actually loosened up by getting the crowd to yell, because then there was no quiet, you know. It was really fun, but you only have those 2 waves. If you look back at what World Team did, they fell on 2 waves early. They're counting 2 twos, but the rest of their rides are really good. for us to get ahead of them, I think is a pretty big accomplishment, because I'm looking at them as the team to beat after round one. And, you know, John, who I feel is our anchor, obviously a two-time world champ, he can deal with the pressure. Kalohe did great to start, you know, but John didn't make either of his waves. That's good news for us to be in first place and have that happen to John. He's got a couple of nines in him.
From riding the first wave here at the Founders Cup and anchoring the U.S. team, Kelly Slater, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. Awesome.
Kelly Slater, the best of all time, having a chat with Jamie Erdahl, and John Florence knows that he has more to do in the second run of competition later on today. USA in the lead, world team in second, Australia in that third spot to potentially make the final round, and Brazil and Europe will be fighting hard in their second run later on this afternoon here in Lemoore, California. Coming up next, some exciting action with the Wells Fargo Championship third round coverage on CBS. Beautiful action here in Lemoore continues. Thanks for being with us and watching the world's best compete on CBS.